ballot box. No violence on our streets. That's how democracy should work. We debate and disagree. We compare and contrast the character of the candidates, the records, the issues, the agenda, the vision for America. Visions of the campaign should always be resolved peacefully, not through acts of violence. You know, we're blessed to live in the greatest country on earth, and I believe that with every soul, every power of my being. So tonight, I'm asking every American to recommit, to make America, think about it. What's made America? Fan the flames of our division to shape the outcomes consistent with their interests, not ours. Let's remember, here in America, while unity is the most elusive of goals right now, nothing is more important for us now than standing together. We can do this. You know, from the beginning, our founders understood the power of passion. So they created democracy that gave reason and balance a chance to prevail over brute force. That's the American we must be. An American democracy where arguments are made in good faith. An American democracy where the rule of law is respected. American democracy where decency, dignity, fair play aren't just quaint notions, but living, breathing realities. We owe that to those who come before us, to those who gave their lives for this country. We owe that to ourselves. We owe it to our children and our grandchildren. Look, let's never lose sight of who we are. Let's remember we are the United States of America. There is nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. God bless you all. May God protect our troops.
President Biden calling on unity from this country. Let's bring in Mary Bruce, our chief White House correspondent. Mary, we were told by this White House that the president would ask for all Americans to condemn political violence across this country, and that's what he did tonight.
David, this was a heartfelt call for unity from the president, a strong condemnation of political violence. The president there straight off the bat saying it is time to lower the temperature in our politics, urging the nation to come together. But the president also recognizing just how difficult that is to do in this incredibly divisive time in our country. The president saying that this is a time of testing and that the higher the stakes, the greater the burden. And given what he himself has argued is at stake in this election, it is going to be very difficult to do what the president is doing. But he is essentially issuing a challenge to all Americans today to take out their anger and frustration at the ballot box, not through violence, essentially arguing that it is counter to what this country stands for, David.
All right, Mary Bruce at the White House tonight as the president addresses the nation after this attempted assassination on former President Trump, calling for unity across our nation, saying we can have our political opinions, we should embrace each other's opinions, but we must do so peacefully, calling on all of us to condemn political violence. I should note that many of us here in the East will be watching a special report from ABC News just moments from now on the attempted assassination of former President Trump. Stay tuned for that. And many of you in the West will be able to see that same special at 8 p.m. in the West as well. Stay tuned. That special for millions of Americans begins right now.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. You just heard President Biden there in his own words delivering a rare Oval Office address to the nation, calling it a time of testing and urging calm and unity following the attempted assassination of former President Trump. But several times he said we have to take a step back, take stock of where we are. Though we may disagree, we are not enemies. He said again, it is time to cool it down. And joining us now from Milwaukee, ABC's Kana Whitworth, who's on the ground there. Kana, President Biden calling for unity in this speech. Do you expect that will resonate in Milwaukee where you are?
Well, I have to tell you that that word unity is the same thing that we are hearing from Republicans. It's the same thing that we're hearing from Donald Trump's team as well. And Lindsay, you know, when you heard the president speak there, to Mary Bruce's point, he's essentially trying to use this moment to reinforce what they believe is the central moment to his candidacy, but also the central thesis to his campaign here is to try to save the democracy. And that's what you're hearing from Democrats. And he really believes that toning down this political violence, but also the rhetoric rhetoric as well will help in that. But that's also something, again, that we are hearing from Donald Trump's team. Now that he is on the ground here in Milwaukee, he is urging his campaign staff to tone down that rhetoric and to use this moment to show that the Republican Party can be resilient and the Republican Party can be tough. But Lindsay, I have to tell you, I spent the day yesterday out speaking with dairy farmers, milk producers. Is crucial to the economy here in Wisconsin, and top of mind for them, this was prior to the assassination attempt, is safety within this country, within our own borders, and that is top of mind for them. So then when you see an event like this and they watch the candidate that they believe should be the next president of the United States nearly assassinated on television, it rings true for them, their concerns about safety within this country. And so what you're hearing, again, is the attempt here from both parties to unify and to let everybody's voices be heard, even if they are a bit divisive, that differing opinions matter. That's what makes our democracy so great, Lindsay.
And we heard from Jay O'Brien earlier saying that many of the lawmakers who are going to be giving their speeches there throughout the week during the convention are going through and changing what they wrote to adjust to this attempted assassination. You also told us about the different themes that are taking place. We'd have to imagine on Tuesday night, when the theme is Make America Safe Again, that that's going to take on new meaning.
It certainly will, because they have the here and now of the actual safety that they're talking about. But you also have the divisive party line here about gun rights and control over firearms. And right now, there's even a little bit of arguing about how that should be handled at the RNC, right? Because we know that this is a heightened threat environment. Security is being looked at very tightly. But at this point, you are allowed to have a firearm on the outer perimeter of this convention. So nowhere near the forum, but within walking distance, you are allowed to have a firearm. And again, the theme of Tuesday is Make America Safe once again. And I think that once again is really imperative when you think about what the Republican Party is trying to message here, Lindsay, because they want to remind Americans of what it was like 4 years ago, how they felt 4 years ago. Did you feel safer as an American 4 years ago than you do right now? And Lindsay, President Biden brought up the fact that in all likelihood, here at the RNC, that his past would be dug into and potentially criticized. But you have to imagine, Lindsay, that also they're going to be questioning the future of this country. And is Joe Biden up to the task of serving another 4 years? You know that the future will be in the spotlight here. Also on Tuesday, we don't want to forget that Nikki Haley is speaking. She is a foe of former President Donald Trump. She has been very critical of him. We know that she said she will vote for him. And then now very recently, she has released her delegates. She's encouraging them to support Donald Trump. And she will be taking the stage here at the Republican National Convention on Tuesday, on that day, Lindsay, that you spoke about.
That's going to be
the
interesting.
Theme is Make
So
America
we will be bringing
Safe
that to you
once
live
again.
right here. On
Another thing that's interesting that John Santucci brought us was how even within the Trump campaign, after J.D. Vance and Vivek Ramaswamy released statements basically pointing the finger at President Biden and his campaign for this kind of rhetoric that became dangerous, potentially threatening the life of Donald Trump, that within the Trump campaign, they were also saying to tone it down, something that we also heard right off the top from President Biden. And so you have to imagine and question really what those speeches are going to look like when you have Donald Trump's own people saying, hey guys, let's bring it down.
Right. How will they modify those speeches in the wake of this assassination attempt? And from Jay O'Brien's reporting, while they're making those efforts to change those speeches, they do have to be approved, right? They have to go through several levels to get approved. But you're absolutely right, Lindsay. When Donald Trump is telling his team and that campaign that they need to tone down the rhetoric, we don't want it to be so divisive, that certainly in all likelihood, changes will have to be made to some of those speeches. And I think that that's really crucial to some of these voters, Lindsay. In speaking with some voters out here, I spoke with one. She considered herself a moderate. And at this point, she truly believes that supporting Donald Trump is the right thing for this country and the right thing for her. But she did say, Lindsay, it's hard sometimes because his rhetoric upsets the apple cart so often. And sometimes voters find that harder to support, Lindsay.
Kana Whitworth for us from Milwaukee. Thank you so much, Kana. I want to bring back in ABC's Mary Alice Parks, who joins us now. Mary Alice, your impressions to the president's remarks tonight?
I'm thinking so much of that classic line from President Biden. He wants to restore the soul of America. So much of his message tonight was exactly that, saying that we are a country of decency and grace.
Okay, so exactly what is the soul of
to
America?
Americans to be better than this, saying that violence has absolutely no place in America and that we all have a responsibility to keep our neighbors safe. And like you've been talking about so much with Kana, to lower the political temperature. You know, I was sort of struck right off the bat. I felt myself actually a little bit emotional right off the bat, where he reminded all of us we will disagree, but we are neighbors, we are friends, we are fellow Americans. How important for us to remember that always at this time, especially in these elections where things get so heated. It was interesting to me, too, that he included this assassination attempt, this historic, unbelievably horrific assassination attempt on the former president in a long list of recent acts of political violence, clearly talking about this as a trend and a problem that has to be rooted out, Lindsay.
And again, he talked about how politics, the appropriate arena is debate, not violence. This assassination attempt will undoubtedly change the campaign, perhaps both of them. What do you think the most immediate impact will be that we'll likely see center stage there in Milwaukee this week?
It'll be so interesting to see if it changes the relationship between these two men. We know that in the immediate aftermath, it has really put a pause on campaigning from Democrats. The Biden campaign halted all ads, tried to get ads pulled out from TV. They haven't been, they've really gone dark today that said this isn't a moment for campaigning. We are told that that's not going to last long, that we are in the middle of an election cycle. You heard the president there say that he expects that in Milwaukee, Republicans will talk about all the ways they disagree with his record, and that he's planning to go back out on the campaign trail to talk about how he disagrees with their vision. We know that the president and the Biden campaign are still planning to make this point that they believe Trump is still a threat to democracy. They are still going to talk about how he attempted to overturn the results of the 2020 election. They are still likely going to talk about how he has been close and promising, I should say, to pardon those January 6th rioters. These are still central themes in the Biden campaign. They believe this is important for voters to be thinking about in November. But we heard the president there say that they need to keep the focus on people taking out their frustrations at the ballot box and finding a way to move past all of any political violence. Lindsay.
And tomorrow, the president's schedule does include another situation room briefing. Can we expect that will be routine as the investigation into the shooting continues over the next days and weeks?
I imagine, and at the highest levels, of course, those that have been briefing the president include the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Director of Secret Service. You've seen the Vice President there in the Situation Room alongside the president. Clearly, they have to be on top of every bit of this investigation. And interesting, they have already promised an independent investigation as well, and to make the results of that investigation public. There's going to be such a call for transparency for the whole country to be able to understand what went wrong, what exactly happened yesterday. They need to find a way to restore faith in law enforcement, in the federal government in this moment when Americans are clearly and rightfully shaken. Lindsay.
Mary Alice Parks for us. Thank you so much, Mary. Unity was, of course, the central key part of the president's remarks this evening. And you had one key message to the American people. Want to bring back in ABC's Jay O'Brien, who's there on the scene in Milwaukee for us. Jay, any sense so far of what those at the convention think of the president's message?
We haven't seen much reaction yet, Lindsay, only because this is very much still getting underway. They're very much still in the planning phase of this convention, or rather the preparation phase. We're seeing mic checks still happen. People are kind of mingling about the floor, but it's mainly media like myself and technicians, et cetera. But I can tell you that the overall message of unity that the president was expressing is one that I have heard from senior Republicans express as well. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, for instance, comes to note. He has said in recent days, really in the immediate aftermath of that attack on that Trump rally outwards, of this need to lower the political temperature, to to not normalize political violence. And that was very much the theme of these remarks from President Biden as well, as we've been discussing over the course of the night. He called on Americans to see people who perhaps disagree with them politically as, we're neighbors, we're friends. At the beginning of his remarks, you played that sound there. He called to take the temperature down. He called on everyone who is so politically engaged in this election, all Americans watching every moment of this election so closely. He called on all of us, as he put it, to, quote, take a step back. And I have heard Republicans ahead of this convention here in Milwaukee echo that too. The immediate test of exactly what that looks like, though, taking a step back, will be had here in Milwaukee really 24 hours from right now when this convention gets underway. And that is because, as the president noted in his remarks, conventions are a political exercise. He said he expects people to take this stage behind me and criticize his record. But he noted that here in this country, you can disagree with someone politically without that turning into violence, without that turning into hate. And that's what the president called on. That's what I've heard senior Republicans call on as well. And the question becomes, when the various prominent notables of the Republican Party take that stage, what message do they express to the American people?
And we've talked a considerable amount about how this convention might be altered as a result of the shooting that took place yesterday. Is there any sense if the campaigns going forward are going to take on a different tone?
Well, what we're hearing is this theme. It's an unwritten theme. There are various themes of this convention. The overall theme is Make America Great Again. And as you and I were discussing, each night has its own theme, like Monday is Make America Wealthy Again, Tuesday is Make America Safe Again, etc. But there is this other theme that's starting to take shape in my conversations with Republicans, in my conversations with delegates here. And that is this theme of defiance. It's almost the embodiment of that image of former President Trump as he put his fist in the air just moments after he was shot. I've heard from Republicans who say they have rallied to that image. They have been emboldened by that image, and they want to bring that tenor, that thought process to this convention as they also try to make their case to the American people for a second term of Donald Trump. So Republicans are really capturing or trying to capture that message of defiance in the wake of tragedy. The question becomes exactly what does that look like? And those conversations are still very preliminary from the Republican sources that I've talked to. No one exactly knows what exact shape that will take, but this convention is going to change significantly.
All right, Jay O'Brien, our thanks to you as always. The investigation into the suspect and his motives is ongoing. I want to bring in former Secret Service agent Don Mihalik. Don, thank you so much for joining us. You were involved with the most of the presidential campaigns from 2000 to 2016. What's your reaction to the shooting from yesterday?
Presidential campaigns and campaign stops are always frenetic. You never like to see incidents happen. This is a tragic incident. It's tragic that it occurred. It's going to take some time for the Secret Service, the FBI, and its local partners to figure out what happened, where the security gaps were. Overall, though, the agents involved in the detail, the counter snipers' response seemed appropriate, seemed right in line with their training. Questions, of course, are going to come out with the security planning, the security plan, and to figure out exactly what went wrong, how the individual got to where he got, and how he was able to set up and take the shots he set up.
I think
some of that questions are also going to involve the local and state stakeholders that supported the mission, the local and state police, because they have a piece of the security puzzle as well. Ultimately, the Secret Service is responsible for the plan, but to do that kind of a plan, they have to work hand in hand with their local and state law enforcement partners to make sure they can affect it.
So since you've been a part of these kinds of plans in the past, I'm just curious how unusual it would seem to you that there would be potentially a rooftop that somehow was not secured.
Well, we don't know if it's not secured because we really don't know what the security mitigation strategies are. Again, the Secret Service doesn't eliminate risk, they mitigate risk, and they use different risk mitigation strategies to do that, which could involve police posts, agent posts, observation posts, ground teams. We really don't know what that looks like because we don't have those answers yet. I am positive that during the advanced process, that building and all the adjacent buildings were surveyed. The counter sniper teams typically do a long distance survey of potential threats out to 1,000 yards where they identify these threats. They put together grid plans to identify specific
Well,
threats.
clearly none of that happened because we had a
They can
shooting.
call it out by the grid and vector teams into it. And again, remember that Secret Service agents, although they do the national security mission of protection, they're also law enforcement officers. So they're forced to operate in the world of law enforcement when it comes to reacting to a potential threat. And it doesn't take a lot of time for somebody to climb onto a roof, drop down, unzip a bag, and pull out a rifle. So all that will have to be investigated. All that will have to be looked at, and we'll have to figure out what those answers are. And I'm confident the Secret Service will put in mitigation strategies so that never happens again.
And just in the last few seconds that we have here, you were part of the advance team for the DNC in 2016. As we get ready now on the eve of the RNC convention, what do you think the agents are looking at right now as they look to the security and make sure that everyone is safe?
Well, the RNC is a national special security event, as is the DNC this year. A national special security event is the highest level security event that the Department of Homeland Security gives to any type of an event that's going on. For the Secret Service, that's a planning process that starts almost 2 years out, where they're working with stakeholders across the board, both with the individual convention people, to the local host cities, to the law enforcement partners, to put together those security plans. And those security plans are constantly in development. They're constantly being adjusted.
Don, we thank you so much for your time and insight. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
And we thank you, the viewers, for streaming with us. I'm Lindsay Davis, ABC News Live. We'll have more coverage on the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. And make sure to tune in at 10 p.m. for our ABC News special Trump assassination attempt, minute by minute. Keep it right here.
Okay, B, you there? Quick question.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so I don't know if you caught the president's response where he was talking about cooling down the temperature as far as saying emotions and things of that nature. But well, he was saying so that we can try to avoid violence. But my thing is, so y'all act like all of this is cool long as nobody gets shot. So can we say it's disingenuous a little bit? His request for people to calm down?
No, I think you're hitting it right on the head. And what we're seeing is the Democrats have been throwing rocks and hiding hands the whole time. And none of those rocks have been landing. Now, the big dog started fighting back and whooping your ass. All of the rocks you threw at him did not work. Now he's winning. And now you want to scream foul, play fair, let's cool out. No, it don't work that way. But now what we're seeing is Biden all of a sudden trying to score points during garbage time. Now, he didn't want to go head to head with nobody when Trump was able to fight back. So he's been trying to do things to prevent Trump from fighting back. They had him in court. They had him with all these fictitious charges. He couldn't campaign. Now, all of a sudden, he gets shot. We done seen more of Biden in the last 24 hours than we've had in the last 3 years.
We done seen him. Well, that's true.
Think about that. They was hiding Biden from the public. They was trying to keep him out of the public's eye. Now, all of a sudden, when Trump is in a situation where he can't capitalize on the limelight right now, Biden wants to try to jump in and look presidential every 2 hours because he wasn't supposed to speak until 9. He done been all over TV all day today.
Yeah, he was on earlier, but and then my thing is, why are you coming on making 2 and 3 minute statements? And I'm getting ready to try to find it's in my history
because he's trying to look like
where he was on this afternoon. He didn't say shit.
He has nothing to say. There's nothing new.
Right.
You just coming out saying the same thing. They're gonna brief me. We know that already, dummy.
Right. We just saw pictures of y'all sitting in the room 20 minutes ago.
It ain't been enough time. Now, any other time he been, oh, I'm going to stay out of it and I'm going to let the authorities do what they do. Why are you so hands-on now? Why are you so hands-on?
He was green beans. Let me find it. Let me find that for y'all real quick while V breaking down what's going on. Yeah, he was. It was a mess a little bit. Hold up, let me find it. It was a little bit of a mess.
And notice all of the world leaders responded to Trump earlier. You know, Zelensky was on. I think he was one of the first ones. You know, they was all sending well wishes to Trump. Biden, he's a hater. These people who probably ain't even been
called him a hater, did you?
They shouting out Trump. Now he wants some of the spotlight.
Hold on, sorry. Wait, this it. Hold up, because I tell y'all, it literally was like 2 minutes. Like literally, y'all, the screen stayed just like this. And y'all see this say 45 minutes and 55 seconds. He started talking at like minute 42. Hold on. Here we go. Wait a minute. All right, I'm gonna leave it right there. And this is what he had to say. After all of that, president gonna speak. He got something to tell us. We got to know. This is what we got, y'all. Hold on.
They could have sent anybody out there to give us that little bit of information.
Yeah, where that little black chick at? She like the press secretary or whatever. Where she at?
Pierre or whatever her damn name is.
The African girl. She cute. I see why she there.
Yeah, she is cute, but she is a liar. Ooh.
But I mean, she's saying what they told her to say. But I'm just saying
that girl can lie her ass off, man. I thought Huckleberry was good. Shit.
Yeah, they could have brought her out for what he getting ready to say, y'all. Because I'm telling y'all, literally, this is what went on. And I'm sitting there like.
But they caught her in a trap the other day where she couldn't even respond. She just had to walk out.
I mean, hey. You digging a hole. You keep from falling in. Hey. I mean, take heed. As total complete damage control. But my thing is the damage already been done. Now
it's beyond damage control. Now it's dirty macking.
Dang,
it's dirty macking is what they doing. They know Trump is getting all the press attention,
all this exposure.
He's going to try to absorb some of that by pretending we're concerned. Y'all the ones that been trying to lock this man up for the last 7 years.
This is true.
They've been trying to lock this man up for any and everything.
Hold up, here it comes. Listen. This is what we got, y'all. This was this afternoon at 1:30.
Good afternoon. Last night, I spoke with Donald Trump. I'm sincerely grateful that he's doing well and recovering. And we had a short but good conversation. Jill and I are keeping him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victim who was killed.
That's
he was
what
a father.
Talk about.
He was protecting his family from the bullets that were being fired. And he lost his life. God love him. We're also praying for the full recovery of those who were injured. And we're grateful to the Secret Service agents and other law enforcement agencies and individuals who risked their lives literally for our nation. As I said last night, there is no place in America for this kind of violence or any violence for that matter. An assassination attempt is contrary to everything we stand for as a nation, everything. It's not who we are as a nation. It's not America. And we cannot allow this to happen. Unity is the most elusive goal of all, but nothing is important than that right now, unity. We'll debate and we'll disagree. That's not going to change, but we're going to not lose sight, in fact, who we are as Americans. Look, Vice President Harris and I were just briefed in the Situation Room by my Homeland Security team, including the Director of the FBI, the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Attorney General, the Director of the Secret Service, my Homeland Security Advisor, the National Security Advisor, and we're going to continue to be briefed. The FBI is leading this investigation, which is still in its stages. We don't yet have any information about the motive of the shooter. We know who he is. I'm instructed that this investigation be thorough and swift, and the investigators will have every resource they need to get this done. Look, as this investigation continues, here's what we're going to do. First, Mr. Trump, as a former president and nominee of the Republican Party, already receives a heightened level of security. And I've been consistent in my direction to the Secret Service to provide him with every resource, capability, and protective measure necessary to ensure his continued safety. Second, I've directed the head of the Secret Service to review all security measures for the Republican National Convention, which is scheduled to start tomorrow. And third, I've directed an independent review of the national security at yesterday's rally to assess exactly what happened. And we'll share the results of that independent review with the American people as well. And finally, I'll be speaking more about this tonight at greater length from the Oval Office. We must unite as one nation. We must unite as one nation to demonstrate who we are. And so may God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, when you spoke to
Listen.
yesterday,
Why do we need to keep hearing, I don't know nothing?
What I'm telling you, that's what he gave. That's what he gave us at 2 o'clock.
Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air: the tornado is touching down here.
Well, all it says is this is dirty macking. I'm gonna use this opportunity because I know everybody's watching to stick my face in it. You keep telling us you don't know nothing. Why do you keep dragging all of those people into these meetings to brief you when they ain't got nothing to tell you?
Let's just pop no face the nation.
They could do all of that shit on Zoom.
True. My thing is,
it's a show. It's a charade. You know, I'm gonna put on this show to look like we really doing something, or to look like I'm helping you, but I'm really helping myself. And it's another way for him to stick his head into the Republican convention this week. So I guess we're gonna see him pop up every day now to give us a debriefing on nothing.
I guess. But let's see what they're talking about here on Facebook.
I mean, let's go back to 9/11.
Identified the gunman as Thomas Matthew Crooks. He was 20 years old and lived about 50 miles from the rally site in Bethel, Pennsylvania. He'd graduated with an engineering degree from a community college, but worked at a nursing and rehabilitation center. He was a registered Republican. A classmate told CBS News that Crooks had tried out for the high school's rifle team, but failed to make it. Throughout the night and morning, investigators searched Crooks's home and car, where they say they found explosive devices. This afternoon, former President Trump released another statement on social media. I was going to delay my trip to Wisconsin and the Republican National Convention, he said, by 2 days, but have just decided that I cannot allow a shooter or potential assassin to force change to scheduling or anything else. Therefore, I will be leaving for Milwaukee as scheduled. He departed from Newark Airport in New Jersey and traveled to Milwaukee for the convention, where he will officially be nominated as his party's candidate for president. Now, in terms of the investigation tonight, the FBI says it's received more than 2,600 tips so far. Investigators are now working on that timeline in reverse now, if you will, from the shooting and all the moments leading up to it, as they dissect the would-be assassin's life in the days and months prior to July 13th. Nora.
Maurice Dubois,
why do they keep going out of the way?
Coming
to
up,
let this,
former
let
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy joins us here in Milwaukee after speaking with Donald Trump today.
I have no idea.
It didn't matter. He was
I do because what they're trying to do is undercut, you know what I'm saying, what they anticipate is going to be happening at the convention, where they're going to be saying, you know what I'm saying, it was a Democrat and that the Democrats.
Yeah, but listen, this kid was 20 years old. He's never voted.
He ain't voted for nobody. Yeah,
he ain't never voted.
He never voted. This is true.
This would be the first presidential election he could vote in.
Right.
So keep saying, oh, I'm a registered Republican. So what? If you ain't never voted, it don't matter.
This is true.
But that again, I mean, we don't need this man for them to keep pumping him up with the drugs so he could look coherent for 3 minutes.
Wow.
And tell us nothing. And it ain't his job. Let the FBI and the police speak. That's what they're supposed to be doing. When does the president come out? When? Think about any mass shooting.
Right. Yeah, because
been the point person on getting the information out to the people.
Mm-hmm. Because I was thinking about that as you're saying, you were making your comments that you're saying he keep coming out and making these little 2 and 3 minute statements like people are literally rioting in the streets all across the country, and that is not what's going on right now.
Well, these people are out of touch with reality. They don't live in real America. They live in a bubble within a bubble in DC. They don't know what's going on, and they've been there for decades. So they get information, third-party information.
How you doing? I'm listening to you. I'm sorry.
They get third-party information from people, and it's like, I don't know about you. I went outside last night. It was very peaceful outside last night.
Yeah,
like I told you, when I was out yesterday, and while this was going on, most people didn't know what the hell was going on. Wasn't even thinking about it. So what's, like you said, what's all this rioting in the streets? Nobody cares about Joe Biden. He thinks people
not at all. Hang on. Kevin McCarthy on. Let's see what he got to say real quick.
You know, what's so amazing. He came so close to losing his life last night, and he's upbeat. He talked about it. He talked to me about hearing the sound of the bullet slashing through his ear, but then he was in total Trump form, where he was educating me that there's a lot of blood within the ear. Kevin, you might learn this because you got big ears, kind of humorous. But I could tell anybody that's been through it's got to change him somewhat. The sound that we went through. But then he really wanted to thank those who had prayed for him. He was worried about the family, who the individual had died, coming to his event. But he was looking forward to coming up here in Milwaukee.
Did he seem shaken at all?
Not what you would thought of. Mm-hmm. No, I think he's been through so much in life. I mean, even if you take the last year, I don't know of any person that could go through indictments, trials, trying to thrown off, and now this. I mean, he has more fortitude than anyone I know.
Exactly, none at all.
Compartmentalize this, but this is a moment in time, though, I think will affect him in some way.
Hey,
you cannot be that close to losing your life, be in a situation where
were you able to get Red Illusion unblocked?
Somebody in your own rally got shot.
Nope, you're gonna have to do
affect you in some manner.
I'm gonna have to do
How
it.
do you think it changes this presidential race?
I don't know literally where it's at. I think seeing how he dealt with that, if I'm just an average American citizen, I'm sitting back, how would my commander-in-chief act in a time of turmoil or others? I mean, I think he showed it's not something you script or others, but that picture of him standing up with a bloody face, a fist in the air with American flag behind it, that's an iconic picture that I think will last a generation. And I think people will look if they make a decision on leadership, it'll be no question. I think this is an opportunity, much that Reagan had, where you had Reagan Democrats. I think you're going to find people looking at Trump that maybe have never voted for a Republican before.
You were Speaker of the House on January 6th. We spoke that day. We were live on the air for more than 10 hours or so. And I remember our conversation vividly because you called on the president to come forward, come out before the cameras and ask for the violence to stop. And you said this should be a moment that brings us together, not divides us. But it's almost like the rhetoric's gotten hotter since then.
It seems as though from all campaigns where I've never seen something like this, where they go after somebody even through a Department of Justice and others. I hope all Americans reflect on this moment. Have you pushed something too far where a 20-year-old kid, we don't know his background, but he's got to have something mental, that would take an opportunity to try to assassinate somebody in a race, that you would question whether you're safe to go to affiliate with any political party that you were fearful of your life. That's not America. That's not democracy. I will tell you today, I had other leaders from other countries call me about what transpired, that they're concerned about democracy, even in their own country, what they're hearing coming back. And this is a moment in time all parties should reflect and know that they should tone it back. We've got to start respecting individuals that we disagree with. You can respect somebody at the same time disagree with them and debate in a manner that's respectful.
Does Donald Trump bear some responsibility for that? Does he need to change his rhetoric?
You know, it's odd. This is a man that came less than an inch from losing his life. And the question is, you're worried about him? I think when I look at all Americans, I mean, I don't know that I look at our current president that less than 2 weeks ago said you put a bullseye on Donald Trump. What I'm trying to be is a fair American to tell everybody to dial back. I think anyone that gave any rhetoric has some responsibility to where this country has gotten in the last couple of years when it comes to politics.
And did you say that to Donald Trump today? Did you say, look, we need to think about the kind of rhetoric that we have here. We can set a standard here.
My call today with the president, with a man that came so close to losing his life, wasn't about that. It was a concern for him personally.
That's the long
and I'm amazed that he's here today. He doesn't push anything back. What it shows to me is what Donald Trump really values. It's not about him. It's what he wants to do for the country. And think about it. Anybody who runs for president, though, the fear that they could have, he could do a lot more in life. He could be very happy at Mar-a-Lago, but he's willing to risk that even when his own family's concerned. And so I think if you watched Donald Trump through this whole campaign, I think this is a new Donald Trump that is more disciplined, that is more focused, that understands what it matters for this country for the next 4 years. And I think you'll see something much different probably here Thursday night than you've seen in the past.
And we may see him even before Thursday night.
I think so.
Kevin McCarthy, the former Speaker of the House, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And ahead, when we come back, what's next for the candidates, the campaigns, and the country?
My question is, real quick, they keep talking about, you know what I'm saying, the rhetoric and this and all of that. So are they really wanting us to believe that we as a people are really that dumb that, you know, we gonna just take what somebody say, hook, line, and sinker, and then go and act on it to the point that we attempting to assassinate people? That sounds like shit you get out from your family. This is the rhetoric is going on in a house. Like, why is Nora trying to spin this like every time Trump get on TV, he like, you know what I'm saying, let's just line them all up and take care of them. That's not what's going on. People who do this kind of stuff get them twisted mentalities and all that shit from folk in their house. Like, let's be for real. That's where he got that from. If anybody with any sense, no, politics is politics. Everybody is not going to agree, but everybody ain't out here trying to assassinate people. He got that from his fam.
And
let's
the
be
people
real.
who vote for them, they are heavily influenced by rhetoric, not information. Sadly, sadly.
Yeah, I'm not feeling with this line of questioning, but I'm with dude. This man just technically got shot, and you worried about what
now
his
fundraising
what
off
he
the attack, and President Biden is planning to resume campaigning on Tuesday after canceling an event tomorrow. The FBI said today that threats of political violence are increasing. They are monitoring online chatter. I want to bring our political team for a look at what this means for this presidential race. Let's start with Robert Costa. And Robert, what are you hearing from the Trump campaign tonight?
Former President Trump, Nora, has a major decision to make within the next 24 hours. Who is he going to put on the Republican ticket as his running mate? The vice presidential selection expected to be known sometime by Monday night, maybe Tuesday morning at the latest, based on my latest conversations with people close to former President Trump. At the top of the list, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, who now has an increased security presence outside of his home, though that does not necessarily signal in any way he's the pick. It's something we have picked up at CBS News. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, as well as Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, though we've been told that former President Trump has discussed more than a dozen names in the past week as he mulls that final decision. We're all waiting, though, to see if an offer has formally been made. No word yet on that.
Exactly.
And Robert, one surprise, Nikki Haley, the former UN ambassador who was campaigning hard for the Republican nomination, recently released her delegates, was not expected to speak here, is now slated
What
to
else was she going to do?
What does that tell us?
What other
I
choice
was with
did she
former
have?
Ambassador Haley when she was in the final days of her
You saw her
campaign. She
looking
was
crazy.
making overtures to traditional Republicans, and many of them across the country continued to vote for her in Republican primaries, even after she suspended her campaign. For her to come to this convention, not just to release her delegates, but to give a speech, is a real boost for the Trump campaign at a crucial time where they want to consolidate Republican support across the country, especially those Republicans who might be wary of former President Trump's conduct, thinking about his legal challenges in particular.
Robert Costa, thank you so much. Now I want to bring in senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe and our chief Washington correspondent, Major Garrett. Ed, on that note, Trump is now fundraising off of this assassination attempt. What are the pitches?
I mean, among other things, he's basically saying that he loves his support. I will always love you for supporting the Unity, Peace, MAGA. And he sent at least 3 or 4 of these today over the course of the day as he continues to recover and talk to supporters. This creates an awkward time in American politics. We now know, for example, the president, while he has suspended his advertising for the weekend, while he postponed a visit on Monday to Texas, is essentially going to resume campaigning on Tuesday by going out to Nevada, keeping to a schedule that has him stopping by the NAACP and another Latino civil rights group to talk about voting rights and other concerns in the Black and brown communities. And you will see the campaigning essentially resume. He will begin with advertising. He'll sort of echo what he said tonight, which is that there can be a substantive
that Biden took back
the issues in this country, and it can be
how he gonna put that back.
peacefully. We also heard today that the heads of the Democratic and Republican parties spoke to each other last night to also talk about, can we keep the temperature down? Can we try to help quell the violence or the threats of violence and hope that, you know, the next 3 months of this campaign are somewhat peaceful? But you talk to Democrats today, those that are willing to talk, and they can see the next few days are going to be quite perilous for them from a crass political perspective, because we've never seen this before. In fact, tonight, the Biden campaign chief, Jen O'Malley Dillon, saying that much like the beginnings of the pandemic 4 years ago, we may be entering a period where things are just so unchartable in terms of how it is one can campaign and reach Americans at a time of such rancor.
All right. The president in the Oval Office address telling people it's time to lower the temperature in our politics, and we have a responsibility to cool things down. If you want to take action at the ballot box.
Precisely, Nora. And politics in our country is frequently interesting. It is rarely riveting.
All this rioting and
it will be riveting for the next 4
days
days here in Milwaukee. People who are not necessarily drawn to politics are going to want to watch this convention to see what former President Trump does, how often he appears here, what is his stylistic approach, what is his rhetorical approach, and what signals to the rest of the Republicans who are here cheering him on take from his demeanor, his attitude, and his tone. All that is going to be sifted anew in light of this traumatic, tragic experience on Saturday that will echo through the country, not just for the next few days, but for the next few weeks. And quickly about Nikki Haley, in talking to the Trump campaign, it was important in this moment, they said, to emphasize in a way that was unexpected this call for unity within the party. Bring everyone here, even a sharp detractor of former President Trump, in this moment to say, everyone is welcome. We are all united as Republicans, and we will support former President Trump in this moment of not only survival and duress, but progress toward the future.
And not only is it about unity, resolve is a word I heard several times today. Talked to one senior party operative at conventions like this since the 1970s. He says, I've never seen people so resolved, so focused on winning in November, believing that what transpired yesterday can really slingshot the party into some kind of a victory. And the other thing he pointed out, he said, there has been so little chatter now, not even that much interest or concern about who he picks as his running mate, because there's the belief that whoever it is, it may not matter, he may be able to pull this off.
I want to bring in political correspondent Caitlin Huey Burns, who is outside here where the Republican National Convention is being held. And Caitlin, I know you have an update on some of the security precautions that are being taken. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Nora, as you can see behind me, there are barricades up, and there are 2 security zones guarding this area. What you see behind me, that's what's known as the red zone or the hard zone. That is protected by Secret Service. Where I'm standing is still part of the broader security perimeter outside the convention, but this is what's known as the soft zone or the yellow zone. What's significant here, Nora, is that Wisconsin is actually an open carry state, and firearms are allowed where I'm standing right now. They are not allowed behind those gates behind me because that's protected by Secret Service. But Wisconsin state law prohibits the city of Milwaukee or local jurisdictions from banning firearms. The Secret Service protects that area, so they are not allowed there, but they are allowed here. And that has come up. I was at a Secret Service briefing earlier today, and the Secret Service overseeing this convention where about 50,000 people are expected to come, said they have no plans to expand that Secret Service perimeter, that red zone, and that there are no real threats at this point. Nora.
All right, Caitlin Huey-Burns, thank you. Also want to bring in Scott McFarland because he is still in Butler, Pennsylvania. He was there covering the rally where there was that attempted assassination attempt. And Scott, what's the community talking about tonight?
Nora, this transcends politics here. Butler County wants to ensure nobody else has anything close to a shared experience. They're talking about their children. Kids already have to deal with lockdown drills, worry about school shootings. We as parents have to warn them about who they talk to in their own neighborhoods, what they see on a computer. And now we have to explain those images and this tragedy to children. There's talk about summoning our better angels. It is modeling better behavior for our children and ensuring they don't have this worry too. They should be enjoying the joyful periods of their lives.
Scott McFarland, thank you for your coverage over the past day. We appreciate it. Finally tonight, the last 24 hours have been one of the most unnerving in recent American history. A presidential candidate, the victim of an assassination attempt. This is something many have never witnessed before. On Saturday, the political rhetoric turned violence. We do not yet know what the shooter's motive was, and we may never get all the answers. But one of the questions tonight, could this be an inflection point in the country's history? For 2 sides of the aisle who may not agree on much, there's one theme we've seen since last night's events. It's time to turn down the heat on the rhetoric, with both candidates for president calling for unity. Now, earlier tonight in a rare Oval Office address, President Biden called on Americans to cool tensions. He told voters to come together and resolve differences at the ballot box, not with bullets.
She
With
keeps saying
114 days left until the election.
Some obviously the Dems want to push. What
right? Because I'm trying to figure out where's the rhetoric.
And how do they keep saying we don't know the guy's motive? So how do you know it had anything to do with rhetoric?
Okay.
Now, like you contradicting yourself all in the same sentence.
Right. We're going back over here to ABC and see what's popping because they supposed to be doing.
Red, if you listening, man, I'm trying to find out how to unblock you. I'm all in YouTube studio, and this ain't easy.
I think you're gonna have to do it. I think you're gonna have to do it from a computer.
That's stupid.
some stuff don't show up in studio when you're doing it from a phone. That's crazy.
I really don't see a place.
That's what it is.
I've been looking.
Let's see what they talk about. If we can get back to some somewhat sane. Okay, they said they got all day coverage. All right, let's see what's popping over here.
I just want Red to know I ain't forgot about him. I'm trying to do it.
Yeah.
The gunman fired several rounds from the roof of a building just outside the security perimeter before a Secret Service sniper returned fire and killed him. Dramatic video shows Secret Service snipers on the roof of a different building as they reacted to the shooting. The FBI is leading the investigation, and the FBI director told reporters on a call this afternoon that yesterday's assassination attempt was, quote, an attack on our democracy. Security is being tightened in Milwaukee. Our team is standing by tonight to break it all down. And we begin with ABC News Live anchor Kana Whitworth, who is live at the site of the RNC in Milwaukee for us tonight. Kana, talk about the security there and what you're witnessing firsthand.
Yeah, so Lindsay, certainly there's an elevated level of concern as well as an elevated level of scrutiny here after that assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. So this event, the RNC itself, that's getting underway right now and starting tomorrow, we're hearing mic checks, people are taking the stage, kind of getting tours, things like that. This event is considered the National Special Security Event, so that is the highest designation that there is. And despite what we saw play out yesterday in Pennsylvania, Lindsay, here in Milwaukee, the RNC Secret Service coordinator is saying at this point they have made no changes to their security plan, and officials remain confident in the plan that they have put forth at this point. Now, this is a plan that has been underway for at least 2 years. It involves several perimeters, one that they consider soft and one that they consider hard. So here in the forum, this is the hard perimeter. It's a lot of security to get through here. You go through multiple metal detectors, but the soft perimeter within walking distance of here, Lindsay, at this point, you are still allowed to have a weapon.
We need TJ. We need the lowdown on
concealed weapon,
Milwaukee.
and that is of tremendous concern right now for the Democratic governor.
Y'all
of
they just be out
Wisconsin,
here just
Tony Evers.
banging
He
in the
is
street.
asking the RNC to reconsider that decision to allow firearms to be again within walking distance of the RNC. But also, I do want to mention a couple of other things here, Lindsay. The Milwaukee police chief is saying they will not tolerate any illegal activity. No surprise there. Also, though, the FBI special agent in charge of the Wisconsin field office did say that there was an uptick in threats that the FBI has seen online, but at this point, there is no known serious, credible threat to the 2024 Republican convention, Lindsay.
Good to know that. And Kana, with a renewed focus on unity now, one of Trump's old foes is now set to speak at the convention. What can you tell us about that?
She certainly is. So Nikki Haley will be making her way here to Milwaukee. Important to point out that Donald Trump is also now here in Milwaukee. He did come. We thought he might delay his trip by a couple of days, but he is standing firm and strong and resilient and saying that he did not want to let the shooter,
So he just preempt all of this with a press
attempt on
conference.
his life to delay his trip or to change how he wants to lead this party. So he's in Milwaukee. Nikki Haley will be here on Tuesday. And when she takes the stage, that is the day. The theme of the day is Make America Safe Again. Make America safe once again. And so, of course, Donald Trump wants to remind people of how they felt
that's the
4
same
years
shit
ago.
Biden been
She will
selling
be
us
taking
since
that
the
stage.
90s.
She will be
How
clearly
dangerous
expressing
it is.
unity
Mama
just by
can't walk
being
down the
here.
street.
She's also released her delegates
These
and
are
she's
y'all black
encouraging
people.
them to back Donald Trump as well. And in terms of the word unity that we keep hearing from both Republicans and Democrats, including the president.
My question
in
about
his
all of this
national address
unity
there a few
going
minutes
on. When's the last time that you know of that we've been unified?
We've never been unified. The only thing that's
okay.
been united in this country is the highway system and the rail system. But
Hell,
the
that ain't
people
even
have
that
never
good.
been united.
Okay. I just want to make sure I didn't miss nothing.
It's just a theory. It's rhetoric. That's the rhetoric. We got to bring the country together. They've been saying this from the beginning. It's never happened.
Okay. Okay.
Or to find a way forward, to find a way to come together in this moment, Lindsay, like you've been talking about with Kana, a message of unity. The president started off by saying, of course, we disagree in debate, but even when we bitterly disagree, we have to remember that we are neighbors, we are community members and friends and fellow Americans. It was interesting to me that he did include this horrific assassination attempt as a part of a list, a trend of political violence that this country has seen and experienced. The attack on the Capitol on January 6th, the attack on then Speaker Pelosi's husband, the kidnapping attempt of Michigan's governor. He said that we cannot as a country go down this road, and they called on all Americans to find a way to lower the temperature, to do better and make sure that we don't go down this road as a nation, Lindsay.
The assassination
like we
attempt
keep
will
going down this road as a
change
nation.
the campaign. What do you think the most immediate impact will be that perhaps we'll see in Milwaukee and beyond?
It's going to be interesting to see if it changes the relationship between these two men, but I think there will be a tough debate in the Democratic Party. We're seeing a little bit of that already play out about how exactly to talk about former President Trump. And we know that this comes in this moment where Biden was really hoping to turn the page on the questions of his own candidacy and focus so much attention on the former president. A central pillar of his campaign has been this idea that Trump is a threat to democracy. I am told that the campaign believes that. They want to continue this message, but there's going to be calls from Democrats for the president potentially to change some of his language around how he talks about the former president. Do they say, for example, that the former president is an example of a potential authoritarian figure? How do they change their language? They will probably be looking to Republicans there in Milwaukee, like we were talking about, for clues. It's a real challenge from both parties to dial down the temperature. And I know that I just learned that the chair of the Democratic National Committee talked to the chair of the Republican National Committee ahead of this convention kicking off there in Milwaukee, promising to try to work together to bring the political language down, bring the temperature down. But we will see sort of how Republicans respond to this moment, and I imagine that will.
I'm just confused. I didn't realize
how
it was
Democrats do as well.
I think it's interesting to note that phone call that you're talking about between the head of the RNC and DNC. Also, the phone call last night between President Biden and former President Donald Trump, because these are two men who, as we made a lot of note of on the night of the last debate in June, that they got on the stage together, did not even shake hands, didn't greet each other with a hello. And so perhaps we're going to see a different dynamic between the two men going forward. And likely, with President Biden scheduled tomorrow, including another Situation Room briefing, I would imagine that we can expect that to be routine as the investigation into the shooting continues.
Absolutely routine. I mean, first and foremost, putting aside the campaign and politics at this moment, first and foremost, the president is the president. He is the commander in chief. He needs to be getting briefings and making sure that he is overseeing that.
I ain't doing this with y'all. So, does anybody think that what has transpired yesterday is karma for the Democratic Party for everything they have done to try to influence this election? As far as you're saying, the since they want to use the word, the rhetoric against Trump, he's a threat to democracy, and the court cases, all the charges in the multiple states and all this different kind of nonsense and the conviction. Anybody feel like yesterday was their karma?
Sure.
What'd you say?
Is it a consequence of what they've been doing? Yeah, it is. I wouldn't say karma, but I would definitely say a consequence.
Okay.
Or a contributing factor. I mean, we start getting into karma, we start talking supernatural and shit like that. No, this is a direct cause and effect.
Okay.
This is all human initiated. ain't no exterior forces created this. This is their direct involvement in trying to manipulate people and people reacting to those manipulations. So again, you got a 20-year-old kid.
Hold on, let's see what Alex talking about. Hold on.
We're learning more about his firearms training. This evening, our team has gotten some new reporting.
I think
they
Alex
found out that he actually was a member of a local sportsman's club, a shooting club, the Clariton Sportsman's Club. It's about 12 miles south of Pittsburgh. The club actually confirming to ABC News this evening that he was indeed a member. We also knew that he at least tried to join the rifle team in high school, but was denied because he was, quote, a bad shot. But this sportsman's club this evening releasing a statement, pardon me as I battle with some of the motorcycles here, releasing a statement saying that they can confirm that Mr. Crooks was indeed a member of this club.
We got a content strike last night.
Additional commentary in relation to this matter in light of pending law enforcement investigations. Obviously, the club fully admonishes.
I just saw it. It wasn't there earlier, but I just saw it.
And I'm paraphrasing here. The club also sends its deepest condolences to all of the victims during that shooting, including the former president. But yes, we're learning that he not just obtained that AR-15 style rifle through his father, who had got it legally. He apparently was a member of a local shooting range here.
And what can you tell us as far as the latest on the investigation and also the condition of the victims?
Sure. Well, so I'll start with the condition of the victims. Those two other gentlemen that were shot and last night were in critical condition. One was a 57-year-old, the other a 74-year-old. We now know that they're both in stable condition. So some good news there. But in terms of the investigation, there's been a lot made about were there warning signs. We've heard reports of folks who were at that rally who reported seeing the suspected shooter on the roof. We now know that local and state law enforcement here, which were in charge of the perimeter outside of that magnetized zone, were alerted to reports of a suspicious individual. They had spotted that suspected shooter, and actually one officer tried to engage that shooter on the roof. They say that shooter pointed his AR-15 at that officer, and that officer ducked for cover. And then shortly thereafter, Lindsay, that's when those shots rang out, and we know what happened after that. What we don't know right now is whether or not through that search for this suspected gunman, if the Secret Service was notified. Lindsay.
All right, Alex Brachet, thank you so much for the continued updates throughout the day. The investigation into the suspect and his motives is ongoing. We want to bring in former Secret Service agent Don Mahalik. Don, thanks so much for joining us again.
We got about 45 minutes before the update special ABC News comes on. We're gonna bring that to you live as well. Quick recap of those of y'all who don't have the full story. There was a shooting in Pennsylvania yesterday at the Donald Trump campaign rally. The former president himself was grazed by a bullet in his right ear. There were 3 other people who were shot as well. One did not make it. The other 2, as we've heard, are in critical condition. There has been a GoFundMe set up for the gentleman who lost his life at the rally yesterday. When we went off, it was about $80,000 in it. It had only been up for a couple of hours. You know what? Let me take a look and see how much is in there now. Child, don't waste time listening to Tariq Nasheed, Green Beans. Don't even do it, child. He is a total and complete fraud. You sitting up there laying up with Miss Ann and Zaddy Love Child, and you sitting up here. Don't tell me nothing about being black. Nothing. I'm good. I'm good. Okay. So the goal, hold on. The goal is $1 million. Oh, hell. Wait a minute. Okay. So, yeah, the GoFundMe was started yesterday at Trump's urging. Goal was $1 million. Right now, it's at $3.3 million with 44,000 donations. Y'all, Trump don't mess around. He don't mess around, none at all. Okay, wait a minute. The Heritage Foundation donated $50,000. According to, wait. It's been a couple of 50,000 has been the largest amount, but it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 different individuals donated $50,000. There's a 36,000, 30,000. Okay, Vivek, I see you. He put 30,000 on it. Kid Rock put 50 on it. Ben Shapiro put 15,000 on it. The Daily Wire put 15,000 on it. Spend some folk. Okay, I see y'all. Yeah, definitely. Because that man, was there with his family and he died, shielding them from bullets. And he actually was a former fire chief in that city. So yeah, definitely. Want to make sure those donations keep rolling in. Will the family get a hit? Listen, them white folk, they ain't interested in no Hellcat. That shit Negroes get excited by. They ain't even worrying about none of that. Some people trying to figure out what they're gonna do without their patriarch. That's what they worrying about. Yeah, I promise you, I don't think whatchamajig is updated. But anyway, yeah, them people ain't worrying about that. I'm sure that man, if he was the fire chief, he got serious, you know what I'm saying? Life insurance, and then this, you know what I'm saying, this would go, you know what I'm saying, double indemnity, because this is accidental, because he was technically red run. Yeah, nah, them people, they got real business they worrying about. It was green beans. Yeah, he had. Hold on, let me pull up. I had his info up. That ain't what I'm looking for. I want to say. Yeah, all this cool. I'm over this cool down. Like folks is just out here acting a monkey in these streets. Hold on. That boy right there. And I'm completely unrelated, but as I'm scrolling for this information on this man, this just came up. This whole Alec Baldwin situation. I don't understand why people mad that he's not going to prison for the rest of his life. Cause hell, I'm confused. It was a movie set. And having said that, you have prop people. And prop people should have made sure there wasn't no bullets in the gun, because hell, it wasn't his gun. I can't. I don't want to do this. Hold on. Chief. Man. All right, so I'm gonna roll it up. Yeah, I want to know more. I want to know more about these explosives. What they found. That's what I want to know about. Hold up. Why can't find this man victim? Hold on. Victim. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, his name was Corey Comparatore. Okay. Didn't we hear from him last night? Hold on.
This past
That's this damn unity. Y'all getting on my nerves.
Work with protocols, put together precise assignments. The primary is the Secret Service of these things. They have the inner, the outer perimeter, local law enforcement, state law enforcement. Give them what they need with a precise protocol. It's worked in active shooter. It can work in here. Go down the list. Rooftop postings, long arms to prevent any threat like we had yesterday. All these things can be done with frozen areas. We do it when we have the right resources. Let's structuralize it so it's across the board. Don's 100% right. Secret Service can have to do this by themselves. They need local law enforcement. They need the state agencies as well. So this can be done, and I believe it can be, but we just have to do it properly.
We've seen images in the past of Donald Trump at rallies where there was some kind of like glass compartment around him, or at least in front of him. We would assume that it was bulletproof. Are there some specifics like that in your view of how officials should be preparing to secure future campaign events?
Sure. You see what Mr. Trump did once he was shot, he went right to the ground. And that's exactly what he should do. I'm sure they're trained for that. They understand that. So these things should never get to that level. Lindsay, you should be pretty. This is going to be an inside venue in the RNC. That helps a little bit. You'll have choke points getting in. But the outside, that has to be managed as well. And same thing with January 6th. Should have been managed better with frozen zones, with additional support. So these things can happen, but they have to be done reasonably smart and with the right resources. Small police departments can't handle this. They need it. They need help. And I think that's what added to this thing. It can happen.
Do you anticipate additional changes, that security will be beefed up a significant amount in Milwaukee and again in Chicago later on this summer?
I do. I think the RNC will be will set the mark for the DNC and say that we'll go. So sure, we're going to do that. We have to, because what the president said tonight and what Mr. Trump said as well. Let's run the record and a lot less rhetoric. And I think this will temp down. We won't be able to reach these folks who did this yesterday. Less so would have that rhetoric to go forward.
Robert Boyce, we thank you so much. Appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks. Still much more to get to. We'll go to Milwaukee for a look at how things are or are not changing on the ground following yesterday's shooting.
Now, do y'all think that they're really gonna tell us everything they're doing as far as changes that they're gonna make? Because I don't. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, it don't matter. You can never prepare for a lone wolf, no matter what you do. That's always been a fact in security. That's the most dangerous kind of terrorist, is a lone wolf. You can't be 100% secure against a guy like that. There's no way to prepare for it.
Yeah, I agree.
So to say, oh, we got to make changes. No, they didn't have a failure. The guy was 300 yards away.
Well, I think
football fields.
Right. I think what could be considered the failure is not expanding the perimeter.
To what?
Beyond them buildings. Because since those buildings weren't in the immediate perimeter, that's why wasn't nobody over there.
What I'm saying is he was 300 yards away. So they had a perimeter. So how big did the perimeter need to be?
Well, I mean, it depends, because when they had the DNC here, the old Coliseum, they was all the way back over there, ready to lay folk down. So take that compared to, you're saying, the Spectrum Center. So the perimeter can be as big as you want it to be.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about for a rally. I mean,
I get what you're saying, but because it was Trump, for me, I'd have been like, look, we going.
And you still got to have enough manpower for that. I mean, it's just not logistically possible.
But what's concerning to me is it's been far too many accounts, and we saw a lot of them last night, of people saying they saw him up on the roof and they were telling local law enforcement, and local law enforcement never said anything to Secret Service. That's the part I don't like. Hold on.
We're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. We must stand together.
Want to bring back in ABC's Jay O'Brien in Milwaukee ahead of the convention. And Jay, from what you've seen so far, any sense of how those at the convention are reacting to that address? I know it's not exactly a packed crowd behind you just yet.
And do all of that anyway.
Not yet, but it will be, obviously, Lindsay, and you will be here and we will see all of it play out. The sense that I can give you is that there is this penetration of this message from not necessarily just the president here, but also from high-ranking Republican officials of trying, at least for the moment, to bring the temperature down here, as our Mary Alice Parks has reported, the chair of the DNC.
I haven't heard any Republicans say that.
That's what I'm saying. I just didn't realize the temperature. I mean,
the only person I've been hearing talk for the last 24 hours is Joe Biden.
Yeah, because we just been getting like prepared statements from these Republican folks. Ain't nobody been on camera doing no talking.
And Donald Trump, again, is a salesman. In sales, you know The first one to talk loses. So Trump is just sitting back, letting this man talk and run his mouth, and he gonna open up a can of whoop ass tomorrow on him. Watch. And they're gonna be completely caught off guard because they talk too much when they're not supposed to be talking. And then when you want them to talk, when it's all on them, they ain't got nothing to say. They sending out the goofy ass press secretary or whatever.
Yeah, green beans. They say he was between 200 and 300 yards away at an elevated level.
Well, what they said is the rifle had a range of 200 to 300.
No, in the very beginning, they said that it was estimated he was that far away.
They weren't really clear on it because they kept getting the talking point wrong because they kept saying, some of them were saying 200 to 300 feet, which is different from 200 to 300 yards.
Today, they're still sticking with that 200 to 300 yards.
Right. But even with the rifle, we was talking about the rifle. We showed it yesterday on here. That kind of rifle, it really depends on the wind. So if you're downwind, shit, you might knock somebody off 500 yards away if you were in the right circumstance, because of the bullets are so light. It's not meant to be a sniper's rifle. It's a hunting rifle.
Right.
Deer and shit,
Right.
Deer,
so with that being said, with these, parents exposing their children to hunting and rifles and all this kind of shit at such a young age, most of the time when have these situations with these shooters and all of this, they come from that kind of background. Do we need to get on y'all need to cut that shit out tip?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. Black people need to start exercising their rights and stop being scared of rifles and guns. That's always been a part of American culture, always. And around the world, actually, most cultures expose their young children to some kind of weaponry and how to hunt and get food.
I mean, other cultures, they do, but them other cultures, and they ain't walking around sniping folk like we tend
But that's
to do
the point, because you're responsible and you understand that you're not the only one. Like in Texas, for example, which is a real gun-friendly state, everybody got guns.
Yeah, because I'm just confused about the ammunition vending machines.
A lot of mass shootings in Texas. Everybody got a gun.
They not had a few.
I didn't say they didn't have a few. I said they don't have a lot.
They love them.
So most of the time when you see mass shootings, you see them in blue states that don't have a lot of, it's not gun friendly. So a pistol is very powerful in an area where a lot of people don't have weapons.
Okay, yeah, that was last year.
What's last year?
The Valdez school shooting. That was dead smack in Texas last year.
Yeah, again, if we go through all of the mass
$2 million,
the majority of them were in areas where there wasn't very gun-friendly areas.
What's going on, Successful MD? How you doing? Appreciate you for stopping by.
And again, we talking about rifles. I mean, like I said, this rifle here, you don't have to have a permit to buy it. You could just go buy this mug. Actually, you could buy it on the internet. You don't even have to leave your house to buy it. But we need to stop pretending that America isn't violent. Violence is part of American culture because, again, when negotiations fail, we turn to violence on all levels, local, state, and federal.
Waiting a couple of days to arrive. Ultimately, he decided he didn't want the horror that played out in Butler to ruin. Agents then swarmed the podium. He later pumped his fist in the air as agents escorted him off the stage, and he mouthed the word fight. The stunning photo shared around the world today. Investigators say the suspected gunman fired several rounds from the roof of a building just outside the security perimeter before a Secret Service sniper returned fire and killed him. The FBI is leading the investigation, and the FBI director told reporters on a call this afternoon that yesterday's assassination attempt was a quote attack on our democracy. Security is being tightened, as you might expect, in Milwaukee. Our team there is standing by tonight to break it all down. And we begin with ABC News Live anchor Kana Whitworth, who is live at the site of the RNC in Milwaukee for us now. Kana, by this time tomorrow night, former President Trump will formally be the Republican nominee. Walk us through what we can expect tomorrow.
All right, so first of all, Lindsay, you have to imagine you might see a bit of a change in tone and a bit of an adjustment in the atmosphere. However, you are right that by this time tomorrow, he will have solidified this nomination at 2 p.m. local time here in Milwaukee. They will start with a roll call, and then they will go state by state. And there's blue chairs down here right in front of the stage in front of me. They'll go state by state, and they will pledge their delegates. And once he gets to that number 1,215, he will officially solidify that nomination. And a reminder to our viewers that Nikki Haley has also released all of her delegates, some 97 of them, and she has encouraged all of them to support Donald Trump. So we know that tomorrow, kicking off the Republican National Convention, the theme is Make America Wealthy Again. We are expecting to see several speakers tomorrow that will touch on that theme. While we can't talk about the exact list of speakers, what I can tell you is that we did see Alabama Senator Katie Britt. She was down there doing a mic check earlier. We also saw South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem doing a mic check as well. And so you can expect to hear from speakers like that, all of them touching on this notation of making America wealthy again. You have to imagine that in this battleground of Wisconsin, they will be touching on the financial woes that have impacted so many American families and pushing back on the message from the White House of cooling inflation and really asking these people to look in at their own finances and ask themselves, is it better now than it was 4 years ago? And noting that we also heard from GOP chair, the GOP chair, who's saying that it is an honor and a testament to the importance of Wisconsin that they decided to have the Republican National Convention here, Lindsay. That really speaks volumes. And so we'll have to see how they change their speeches and how they try to appeal to not just moderate voters across the board, but some of them specifically here to this battleground state of Wisconsin.
And Kana, safety as well as security, obviously top of mind for so many. Any change in posture there as far as security is concerned? Going in keeping with that theme, as you mentioned, for Tuesday night, Make America Safe once again.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is the theme of Tuesday. You have to imagine that that will be of high importance, not only for the speeches, but of course for the security teams involved here. So this is multi-tier, but what we're hearing right now from the RNC, from the Secret Service at this point, is that they are not making any changes right now. They are not going to expand the security perimeter, that they feel confident in this plan that they have right now. It's been in place for some 2 years. They've been working on it for that long. Now, despite the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump, they are not making changes. This is an open carry state. So on the soft perimeter within walking distance of the forum here, people will be allowed to have weapons. If they have a permit, they can have a concealed weapon. But then there's another perimeter in which they absolutely cannot. And just for us getting in here, we had to go through multiple metal detectors. Oh, you're hearing a mic check there. So, you know, we also have different credentials for each day. So security is certainly top of mind. It's being scrutinized right now. But I also want to share that I also spoke with, you know, some state troopers, and they've been handpicked from all across the state to be here. And they are saying that after that assassination attempt, Lindsay, that the tenor changed. So while logistically we might not be seeing a change, you're seeing a change in tenor.
Mindset, perhaps. All right. Kana.
Also, not every event at this convention is going to be open to the press. There will be events that the press will not be able to attend.
together in this moment, Lindsay, like you've been talking about with Kana, a message of unity. The president started off by saying, of course, we disagree in debate, but even when we bitterly disagree, we have to remember that we are neighbors, we are community members and friends and fellow Americans. It was interesting to me that he did include this horrific assassination attempt as a part of a list, a trend of political violence that this country has seen and experienced. The attack on the Capitol on January 6th, the attack on then Speaker Pelosi's husband, the kidnapping attempt of Michigan's governor. He said that we cannot as a country go down this road, and called on all Americans to find a way to lower the temperature, to do better, and make sure that we don't go down this road as a nation.
We need to take a shot for every time somebody says lower the temperature.
Undoubtedly change the campaign. What do you think the most immediate impact will be that perhaps we'll see in Milwaukee and beyond?
It's going to be interesting to see if it changes the relationship between these two men, but I think there will be a tough debate in the Democratic Party. We're seeing a little bit of that already play out about how exactly to talk about former President Trump. And we know that this comes in this moment where Biden was really hoping to turn the page on the questions of his own candidacy and focus so much attention on the former president. A central pillar of his campaign has been this idea that Trump is a threat to democracy. I'm told that the campaign believes that. They want to continue this message, but there's going to be calls from Democrats for the president potentially to change some of his language around how he talks about the former president. Do they say, for example, that the former president is an example of a potential authoritarian figure? How do they change their language? They will probably be looking to Republicans there in Milwaukee, like you were talking about, for clues. It's a real challenge from both parties to dial down the temperature. And I know that I just learned that the chair of the Democratic National Committee talked to the chair of the Republican National Committee.
About 25 minutes or so before the special comes on. I see that they're gonna try to turn this into this whole cool down the temperature, change the temperature, all this kind of nonsense. One group is just a bunch of hotheads that don't know how to act, and then the other group, it's just all mild and mannered, and they just don't understand why they're being beat up on. If that victimhood shit, as y'all know, I'm not a fan of victimhood. I feel like,
like I said, that's to throw the rocks and hide hands.
This is what they're getting ready to try to pull off.
And they've been the ones that have been having all of this negative. Oh, he's a felon and the democracy's over. Trump ain't been saying none of that. Trump is like, hey, it was better with me. That's all
it was. If we're gonna be honest,
y'all was
at least it was for me.
We ain't had no problems in the world with me. So, again, they just have a distorted view of reality. And when you start peeling the layers back on it, they get angry just for you questioning what they're saying. They get angry. All Democrats. As soon as you start peeling the layers back, oh, you want to vote for Trump. You ain't never said nothing about Trump. You're questioning their logic, and they automatically associate it with, oh, you want to vote for Trump. You're a Trump supporter. Oh, that's conspiracy theory. What? I'm asking you what Biden has done.
Well, see, that's interesting because they'll say the same thing about, Trump people. They can't answer no questions. They can't tell you this, that, who, do.
Yeah, but when you listen to Trump supporters talk, and I'm not talking about the far right, weird ass MAGA people. I'm talking about the moderate, normal people. They can pretty much articulate what their reasoning is, and then they can make some valid points. But if you go to the extremes on any group, they're not gonna make no sense. So if you go to the extreme far right or the extreme far left, you don't know what they're talking about. Like, what are you talking about? An example of the extreme far left would have been Vivica Fox and Fox Soul, how they reacted to Ice Cube.
Oh, yeah. When he was talking about, Oh, I mean, what about black women?
Confused. Like, wait a minute. Aren't I got a plan for black people? Aren't y'all black people?
Right.
No.
Yeah. It was like, no.
That's extreme far right thinking. Fannie Willis. That's racist. I ain't gonna emasculate no black man. Bitch.
Then he turned right around the very next sentence.
You've been emasculating him the whole time. And it just don't even make you looking at her like, lady, are you serious?
We did
the
last thing
right now. But in their mind, it's clear. And they always fall back to racism. Fanny, everybody down here is black. So what you talk about racism?
Right, because he has a trigger.
Everybody is black. And all of y'all are black women. So who being racist to you that's in power over you?
Right.
You doing it to yourself. And all of your people under you are operating like you. But that's that weird far left ideology. And it's just like a normal person looks just like, lady, if you had just shut up, you wouldn't even be in this problem.
Right. Oh, hold up. Respond to this. In the chat says, what about when Trump said, black people, if you want a better life, vote for me? I mean, as a politician, ain't that what you're supposed to tell people?
What about when Trump said that? I was happy he said that because that was the first time in my lifetime, and I'm almost 50, where I heard a politician acknowledge y'all got problems, ain't nobody else looking after you. Come over here, talk to me. I'm going to help y'all deal with y'all problems. That was the first time. So, yeah, that was a good thing when he said that. And black people, guess what? Did better under Trump. I don't care. The man crazy as cat shit. I don't care about that. A lot of politicians have been crazy as cat shit. I look at my wallet and issues, and we did better under him than we did under Obama or Trump or Biden, rather.
Them Obama years was hell for me. I ain't even gonna lie.
The Obama years, we went from having the highest level of home ownership for black people in history. At the end of Obama's administration, we were at a historic low.
Damn everybody lost their house.
And we haven't come up out of that since. So what Democrats do is they lie. They like to play with the data. And they say, oh, black women are buying more houses than ever before. Wrong. That's not true. Now, black women have been acquiring more houses in recent years than black men. But that the number one way that they acquire houses is through divorce and death benefits. They're not buying houses.
Okay, so he's saying, how did black people lose their homes?
Through the robo foreclosures and for the subprime lending. I mean, isn't this public knowledge? This was just 2008, 2010. During the recession.
What he say? I mean, both sides like to make citizens feel empowered. Kind of, sort of. What Red Lucy said, I just got back from arguing with the plantation. I got a headache. What happened? We got time. Tell us what happened.
Tell Red to come on up, man. We need somebody with a good white microphone to come talk to us.
Wow. Wait a minute. Who is this? We ain't seen him before.
With the investigation into the shooter, the president himself in his speech referenced some of the outstanding questions about his motives and beliefs and if he worked with anyone else. How's law enforcement tackling those questions, do you think?
So you have to look at a number of things, obviously. You're going to have to look at social media. You're going to have to look at his phone records. You're going to look at anything electronic that he touches. Has he been inside different chat rooms? Has he gone to particular sites that are oriented a particular way?
Okay, they don't know nothing. They just
Who does he
speculate.
associate with? Who are the folks he runs around
well,
with?
He's saying that's what they need to be
church?
looking for.
In other words,
We
Lindsay,
already
look
know
at every
this.
link that connects him either
surprised he don't.
electronically or
They say
in
this
person,
after every shooting.
because there may be pieces of information. My sense of this case is it's probably not going to be complicated. Obviously, something triggered this lad, and he committed this horrible act. And he may or may not have talked to anybody. Now, as we both know, he's certainly in an age range where social media can play a big part of a person's life.
Oh, here we go.
We don't know yet if that
Here
really
we go.
is him.
Blame it on social media.
But my sense is the following, that the FBI obviously know a lot about this shooter now. And I think they're not telling us for the obvious reason because they're not done with the investigation. But I think you're going to have a picture of, again, another mass shooter, troubled, probably low self-esteem, probably isolated to a certain extent, and felt like he had to be empowered some way.
Socially awkward.
Was that directed towards former President Trump? Well, certainly it would appear that. But what we don't know is what President Trump represents to him. And so I think that piece will come out, because sometimes these shootings are symbolic. They go, and it may not be towards President Trump. It may be about something he represents or the party he represents or whatever it might be. And, eventually they're going to be able to sort that out. But the real question, of course, is, could they have stopped it? Is there a trail of information that could have led them to his door before yesterday? And we may or may not get the answer to that.
Looking ahead, there have obviously been a number of polls
like we
already
never
to
get
turn
the
the
answer.
temperature down and discourage political violence all the way up to President Biden. How do you think that law enforcement and federal officials will be prepping for a heightened threat environment in the near future?
So the real key with any of these threats is, most of them aren't real and they don't go anywhere, but a few do. And you have to be able to selectively but precisely decide what has potential to be real.
Yeah, I think that
And
I
that's
think
where
we're
you
not
put your
good at that.
investigation. You move it in that direction. And the key here is also communication. If it's based in, let's say, Pennsylvania, the threat, what do the Pennsylvania State Police, what do the local police know? What do the local mental health people know? And try to draw a picture of a person. And again, law enforcement will get into their social media backgrounds and see what they're talking about, see what sites they're going to, see what they're writing. And talking to people about any changes of behavior, which may come back to this shooter, for example, if in fact they saw a different aspect to him, his parents or somebody else, or was he just a quiet loner?
Damn daddy acting
We'll
stupid,
just have
like
to
he
see.
don't know nothing.
So many
And he
unanswered
the one
questions in
about to
these
do it.
early days. Brad Garrett, our thanks to you as always. So much more to get to here on Prime tonight. We hear from a former prosecutor and Republican congressman on yesterday's attack and the increased threats facing our lawmakers. Stay with us.
Okay, welcome, Wanda. What did she say? I disagree with you that Trump did more for Black people. President Biden gave more money to HBCUs. That's not true. He actually took back the majority of what Trump gave HBCUs. And Biden lowered the cost of insulin to seniors, for seniors, to $35 per month. How about putting them in a situation to where they don't need insulin? And we've been in an insulin shortage for about 2 years. So that's not exactly accurate. Because now in the debate, he said he lowered it to $15. So yeah, that's not really a win. But yeah, no, Trump is the one that gave the HBCUs money. Biden took it back. They gave it to the Ukraine. That's what happened with that. And we're back.
Welcome back, everyone. As questions persist about what happened on Saturday and how both sides of the aisle are now calling for unity and to turn the temperature down. This as the Republican National Convention gets set to kick off in Milwaukee tomorrow. Let's bring back in ABC News political contributor and former Republican congressman from New York, John Katko. John, thanks so much for joining us tonight. First, just want to get your initial reaction to learning what happened to former President Trump yesterday.
Well, I was preparing to go on the air with ABC and I was watching this unfold real time, and it was positively shocking to me. And he was stunningly lucky that that bullet wasn't an inch closer, or we would have been having a very different conversation right now. But it was shocking and sad, but sad to say, it was probably predictable to some extent because political violence has been a fabric of our nation since the days of Lincoln. And you have to be ever vigilant. And, like I've said before, the Secret Service only has to be wrong or slip up once. No one gives them credit for all the great things they've done to save things in the past. But whether they slipped up or not in this one, we'll see. But, it was deeply troubling to watch this. And it's also deeply troubling to see some of the rhetoric that's emanated after this event happened.
Do you expect a different tone at the RNC and from Donald Trump as well?
Well, I think he's got a tremendous opportunity to be a real leader. He has contributed to the very heated rhetoric in this country, as has the other side. No one has clean hands in this argument, so they shouldn't try to have it. But someone has to take the high ground. I think the president took a good step tonight in the right direction, but quite frankly, at this stage in his career, he's just not a good messenger. Trump has the ability to bring the temperature down and have credibility regarding it. And I hope he takes that opportunity, not so much for his own political future, but for the future of our country. The center of this country is lost. And I'm not talking about the political center. I'm talking about the moral center. And we need to get it back. And it's going to take a leader to get it back. Reagan did that. I think he had the ability. I think Bill Clinton had the ability, and some others in our nation's history. And we need that now more than ever. And Trump has an opportunity, and I hope he takes advantage of it.
If he does, and we did hear from President Biden tonight urging Americans to
turn
the temperature down, do you think that those calls will be
federal
heeded?
government for 15 years,
well,
and
not,
she's still making
not what I've seen so far. I've seen wild speculation on both sides. I've seen people calling for people to be removed from their positions already without even knowing the facts. And of course, you see the finger pointing from both sides by surrogates, and that's not helpful. So it's going to take strong leadership to turn this ship of vitriol around. And I hope it happens. I think it can happen. I got great faith in America. I remember back when I was in high school, America was in a very bad state. And then along came Ronald Reagan, and everyone thought he was going to start World War III. And he turned out to be a great leader for all Americans.
No,
so we need that again right now.
Former Congressman John Katko, we thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
No, we got some chat commentary saying President Biden will lower the cost of insulin for everyone in the United States. I don't take insulin. Do you take insulin, V?
No, but Rashana took insulin.
Okay. Then it says Biden forgave loans for students, which Trump said he will stop. I didn't get my loans forgiven. My sister didn't get her loans forgiven, and she's been working for the federal government for 15 years over at NASA. So,
well, they put the parameters when they came out. That was Kamala that came out and announced that, and the parameters was so limited. Only a very small percentage of people would have qualified for that student loan forgiveness.
Well, see, this is the thing, because from every time I turn around and hear it's about, people stuff being vacated and all that, it was folk, that went to, ITT Tech and DeVry, and it wasn't nobody who went to the University of Pennsylvania and no shit like that. So that ain't
was a very small group of people, and most people didn't qualify for it. And it wasn't complete wipeout of your student loan. It was a limited amount of money anyway.
But it was some people got their stuff completely wiped out, like ITT Tech folk and the DeVry, and that was on the guise of they were, guaranteeing people jobs when they graduated. So some of them got their stuff completely wiped out.
Yeah, well, I mean, Biden,
it's so much you have to do for that. Hold on.
Jay O'Brien, who's in Milwaukee for us, where the Republican National Convention will begin tomorrow. Jay, just wanted to get your thoughts.
Try anyway. Yeah, okay, I understand that, but all African Americans ain't got diabetes, and all African Americans ain't qualifying for that, Wanda. So again, if you don't have no insurance, paying $35 for the insulin is the least of your problems. It's the $3,000 doctor bill to get the prescription for the insulin. That's the problem. Let's stop falling for the foolishness.
Obama and Biden did so much damage to black people during their administration.
Okay, I understand the stipulations. My sister has met every last one of them. Again, she's been working with them for 15 years. She has never not made a payment. Even through the pandemic, she was still paying on her loans. Well, first I wanted to he can go back and do what he was doing before, because during his presidency I made $15,000 less than what I make now, and I actually had money in my pocket back then. So he can go back to doing what he was doing before. That'll help me just fine. Trump said he's gonna put America first. So if he put America first, that means we ain't sending money to the Ukraine. We ain't worrying about what Russia got going on. We ain't over there, you know what I'm saying, in other parts of the country messing around in their business. We're going to take care of what's going on over here. So again, since it's supposed to be America, and you're saying the land of opportunity, and you can pull yourself up by the bootstraps, then let's put people in a position to do just that. So that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna put everybody in a position where you could pull yourself up by the bootstraps and do what you need to do. Because that ain't what's happening right now. Y'all talk about insulin. Everybody don't need insulin.
Much for streaming with us. I'm Lindsay Davis.
I know for a fact my
attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. For ABC News special Trump assassination attempt, minute by minute. Stay with us.
All right, here we go. Complete recap. Let's see what they gonna say. Commercial break going on. And see, this is why we doing this, so that you're saying we can get perspectives from different people. Okay, Wanda, Trump didn't have nothing to do with that. 15 people don't come out and said that.
What is she saying? Because I'm not hearing. I can't see the comments.
Talking about download Project 2025. When I tell you propaganda is strong.
Oh my God.
It's strong. They ain't even him. Only a fool will write down their whole plan if they plan to screw you over and tell you how they gonna do it 2 years before they even get started. Y'all, come on. Come on.
I know my benefits changed immediately after Biden got into office. My benefits got cut right away.
Child, listen. Like I said, I got a $15,000 pay increase, and it's like somebody took $20,000 from me.
Yeah, because the inflation started kicking in after that, Yeah. So your cost of goods went up.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, literally.
And I worry about these young people because they don't even have a chance like we had when we were just starting out in our early 20s.
Yeah.
We can get an apartment. We can get a little job. These kids can't do that. They can't do that. And now that they're pairing up. And this is what I say to a lot of you Democrats. Y'all are so clueless on what's going on. Y'all don't even know where these kids are living at.
In a moment.
All right.
ABC News.
So far, I have to get ABC News credit. This is pretty good. Child, I know he was like, damn, they really tried to take me out. Well, I'm still here. Let's go. I'm sure he said something to that effect. What I want to know is, Like, I mean, again, you know, you have your, you know what I'm saying, your public, you know what I'm saying, persona, you know, everything of that nature. But like, what did he say to himself when he was in the shower this morning? Like, when nobody ain't there but him. Like, I wonder if he was like, damn, folk really trying to take me out? Like, why? Or he had to have that kind of moment. He had to. Because I mean, that's it. It don't get no realer than that, folks. They shot you. Somebody shot you over something you said they ain't like.
You know exactly what Trump was saying. He was talking shit in that shower. I know these motherfuckers ain't trying to kill me.
For real.
You know you sucker ish. That's why I say he gonna be fired up tomorrow. He gonna be on that you know, on that Tupac shit. You took 5 shots, couldn't kill me. On that 50, he gonna be on that Tupac 50 shit.
Yeah. Well, you know, they say that should be his new theme song.
I told you, hit him up. Hit him up, or who shot you or made you look
they got him on that 50 Cent. He said, many men wish death upon me. Lord, I don't cry, no. Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit that real quick.
Yeah, rock that 50. Get rich or die trying at the very end.
For real. Have mercy on me. Have mercy on me.
That was hot, that soundtrack, by the way. A lot of people slept on that.
For real.
Get rich or die trying soundtrack from the movie. That was a hot soundtrack.
It was.
Use a window shopper. Looking at shit you know you can't buy.
Secret Service Chief Kimberly Cheatham facing mounting calls to resign after total security breakdown at Trump rally. Well, you know somebody was gonna come out and be like, "This is what happened when you got women in charge." Y'all had to.
Yeah, I think she did a good job, but honestly, I mean, their job is not
time of testing as the election
to be proactive. Their job is
hell. She wasn't even there.
So much of it will depend on how these
She ain't
supposed to be.
Mary Bruce.
She wasn't there.
We'll see everyone from the Republican.
Yeah, she ain't supposed to be on site.
Good night.
I mean, I know that.
I mean, but she did a good job. I mean, all of the people under her watch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a powerful job, you know. So I mean, they gotta stop trying to blame somebody. Their job is to respond, not to be proactive.
Chad, that's what folk do, is blame people. That when you ain't got no answers, that be the logical next step.
When you want to try to make somebody's job other than what their job really is, you can't stop a lone wolf. You can't do it.
Nope. Well, that's was another guy that was on early. He said their job is not to is not to eliminate risk. It's, you know what I'm saying, to mitigate it. He was like, you know, make it
respond to it. That's it.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, we can't stop everybody. It ain't what we no. That ain't what we do.
And again, we don't know enough about what happened. We really don't know enough yet. So, and of course, in this 24/7 news cycle, we want all of the information right now.
Well, you know, people attention spans ain't but 2 seconds long.
And I say that to you even on these panels where people want everything explained to them in a 90-second soundbite. And I can't, sometimes the topic requires more background information and people don't have it. But they so used to getting 30-second, 90-second sound bites, you know, and that's why they mix stuff up and they really don't know what they're talking about.
True. Hell, she started.
Everybody, you know, all information ain't good information.
This is true.
And right now we live in a time of overload information. You don't know what is coming from and what to believe because you don't take time to source it out.
These are facts.
You know? And things be factual information, that's where you lying. Like, how you don't know this? But you up here want to be in the chat, question what we saying, and you ain't studied shit. Be honest with yourself. Maybe I'm going to sit here and be quiet and learn something. Nah, I got to talk. Because I saw a 30-second commercial one time.
They're going to talk.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And people make voting decisions based on this non-information they have. As soon as you question it, they get emotional, they get triggered. And you're attacking me. And that's why with the balloon pop show, when Brian, the airline mechanic, was questioning, he would just peel back one layer. Oh, I feel attacked. First of all, he wasn't even talking to you. He was talking to her about her shit.
These are facts.
Why you feel attacked?
Because he was talking about her too. Because then kind of find out, you're saying she's talking about the attack. Kind of find out she had 3 kids by 3 different dudes.
Exactly. But then it was how we know you're a top tier man. He was an airline mechanic. If that ain't top tier, I don't know what is.
Well, I mean, his look, you know what I'm saying, wouldn't never, you know what I'm saying, told you that he need to get rid of that tattoo, but that was just me.
I mean, he ain't dressed like a mechanic, but I mean, you know, he had a little shape.
I mean, he kind of was though.
He had a little body, you know,
with them jeans on. And I'm just saying, every time I come dressed, and that's what show up with. Like, come on.
But that might be the style in Arizona or wherever he was from or living at the time, you know.
I mean, high value folks dress like high value folks.
Sometimes, well, high value is different depending on where you are. So somebody dressed here in Charlotte a certain way, they go up to New York, which is fashion capital of the world. They look different. They like who made your suit?
Yeah, they ain't that different in Arizona from here. I've been to Arizona a couple times.
I don't know. I don't live in that environment, so I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I've been a couple times.
I'm just saying, just based on the places I live, I know style changes even from just here to 2 hours away. It's a difference between Charlotte and Columbia.
Yep.
It's a big difference. Because I know a lot of times we would go down to the comedy show and I'm peeping how people was dressed. I'm like, this nigga look like a cornball. But every time we go, we seen dudes dressed like that. I ain't say nothing, but I'm peeping it, you know. But in Columbia, that's cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Metro. Shout out to Columbia. Shout out to 2 Knots Road. Shout out to Decker Boulevard.
Which I know about that right there.
Shout out to my boys in Clemson Road. Shout out to everybody in school in Allen and Benedict. Shout out to y'all.
All right. So what do we need to know we don't know?
We need to know what kind of gun it was. I'm curious about that. The rifle. I'm betting my suspicion was right. So I want to see how close I was. Just out of my personal curiosity. What else do we need to know? If he sent any kind of communication, so as they go through his socials and his computers and stuff, that'll come out this week. Maybe. But other than that, we know everything.
Okay.
We know as much as we can possibly know. Now what we don't know is how Trump is going to respond to this.
Mm-hmm.
Now he could cool down and take a more subdued role per se. That's what the Democrats want. But based on what I know about Trump, Trump is going to come out swinging. He's a fighter. He amped up right now. He probably dying to get on camera right now. They just told you he was trying to push his way out of the limo. They had to force him in there. Get your ass in there. He was trying to get out. He climbed up to that podium and was pumping his fists. That ain't the man that's about to tone shit down. That's who he is. And that's why a lot of people like Trump. Good or bad. They like the fighter. And that's part of American culture. We've always liked the fighter. We always liked the bad boy. We always like those kind of guys.
Okay. So I actually saw this question on another live stream. Does Trump represent masculinity to Americans?
Yes. And especially when you contrast him with Joe Biden. So when you look at both of them side by side, who's masculine? Trump is. It's automatic. It's a no-brainer.
Okay.
That was the same problem Al Gore had with Bush. When you looked at those two, who was the masculine one? Bush was. Right?
Okay.
So we like that idea of masculinity, and masculinity comes in different forms. So we liked Obama versus Hillary for the same reason. But Obama didn't represent that fighting kind of masculinity. He was more smooth and suave with it, you know. He had swag, where Hillary was just Hillary, you know. So when you had to compare the two, we like Obama. We like that masculine shit. We like that smooth pimp daddy shit, you know.
Okay.
So masculinity, you know, you got many forms of it. And this is where a lot of times people go wrong, where it's either this or that. They try to make things a choice, one or the other, when things are a spectrum. And, you know, and I use the example of Prince, for example. Prince was masculine.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people didn't realize that. Prince was masculine.
Yeah, they said Prince didn't play no games. None.
Right? MC Hammer was masculine. So this is why they struggled with, God rest the godfather of style, Kevin Samuels. They struggled with that because he didn't fit a prototypical archetype of what they perceive as masculine.
Mm-hmm.
But when you study masculinity, that archetype that he represented was all over the history books. And that's why I brought up Prince, MC Hammer. You always had soft-spoken guys, or metrosexual, as we called them at one point in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But they were still masculine men. Everybody can't be Al Bundy. You know, we can't.
This is true.
You know, we can't try to stuff every man into one suit or one idea of what masculine is, you know?
Okay.
So right now, when this time, especially when you take it out of context, you know, you got to put things in context. So when you put it in context, again, the Prince, Michael Jackson was masculine.
True. This is true.
I mean, real talk. But the people really they never seen Michael Jackson. I grew up on it. When you seen him perform and them moves he was making, shit. And how them girls was screaming for him. Oh my God. And can't nobody tell me he wasn't smashing Brooke Shields. Sorry, don't tell me that.
You know what? I think Michael lived his life backwards. All of his childhood, he was a grown man. And then then his adulthood, he was a kid. It's like his whole life was in reverse.
Yeah, you're right, because he was forced to grow up early. And then when he got free of his father, he was able to be himself, and the childlike shit came out.
Hey, hello, Tammy Lynn talking about Michael Jackson was more masculine than Biden. That's for sure. Listen, Joe just old. Joe like that old redneck, you know what I'm saying, that you usually see, sitting on the porch watching the cars rust. You know, like the old clan, yo, after they done,
Joe was
raised all their hell, raised all their hell for all their life in the clan. Now they old and can't ride no more, so they gotta sit down and watch. That's Joe. That's Joe. You done fell off the horse one too many times. So now it's time to go sit down. But he just refused to do so.
I think Joe Biden is a faker and a fronter. And he's been that his whole life. And he's never had a legitimate opportunity to prove that he's this image that he tries to portray. I'm this tough guy. Mm-hmm. He wanted to be a tough guy, but he ain't never been a tough guy. And I always think back to the movie Knockaround Guys, where Vin Diesel is talking about being a tough guy. And on his way to being a tough guy, he had to have 500 street fights. And he says, on the way to 500, you just get past the silliness of it, is what he said. You just get past the silliness of it. And that's a profound thing. And you hear me say stuff like that. A lot of these guys ain't never been punched in their face ever in their life.
You say that a lot.
I say that a lot, right? Because I grew up being punched in my face. Yeah. Okay? Especially as an athlete. But I mean, you know, I boxed and karate and all that kind of stuff. So I was used to being hit. These guys ain't never been hit. And as soon as you hit them, they'll bitch up. I done seen it too many times. I'm like, guys, telephone tough guys. You ain't had a fight in your life. I'm 50. I'll be 50 soon. I'll be 48 this year. Let's tell the truth. I'm rounding it up. I'll be 48 next month. I ain't had a fist fight. God damn, I can't even remember what year it was. The hell yeah. I'd have to really sit here and think about it. Now, I done smacked a couple of people during the time. I'm known for that.
Yeah, don't smack no more people. Please don't do no more smacking.
Huh?
I said don't do no more smacking.
I mean, you know, I can't have nobody calling my mama no bitch in my house in front of my face, though.
I mean, true.
We ain't gonna have that.
What's going on? The Incredible one talking about 1976.
What he say?
He was born in 1976. He was doing the math on when he was born.
Oh, 76.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, but I mean, who fighting after high school? Who is?
I have just not seen that unless you're saying it was something serious going on.
I mean, it's a rare thing, and usually it's a family function, a cookout, two relatives done seen each other.
But I'm talking about like two unrelated grown men. It's been a long time since I've seen that. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that.
You ain't seen that.
Child, niggas is
and I'm from the hood, y'all. I don't want to hear, well, you ain't from the hood. You in Charlotte. Okay. I'm from Newark, New Jersey. I ain't never seen that shit.
Yeah, no.
I done been in hoods all up and down the East Coast. South Side, Chicago. North,
folks ain't knuckling up.
Charlotte, West Side, Charlotte. North South Carolina, which is a rough little town. West Palm Beach. I done been a lot of places I ain't never seen. I mean, we got to stop faking the funk, man. But everybody's a tough guy now. Everybody's a tough guy. I find it funny. But yeah, to go back to your question, because I'm rambling a little bit. To go back to the question, when you compare Biden and Trump automatically grabs you as the masculine one. Automatically. Even his posture. It's not even he got to say anything. It's just let them two stand next to each other. You can be like, oh yeah, he the masculine one.
Okay. So this week we're in agreement that Trump is the masculine one. Would his masculinity be the reason that the majority of Black women don't like him?
Ooh, that's an interesting hypothesis. My initial thought would have to be yes, but I don't think they look that deep into it. Black women have been programmed, Order 66. They've been programmed to do anything the Democrats tell them to do. So that's the reason why they don't like Trump. So I said this to somebody earlier, or I might have said it last night. When you go back to 2014 and earlier, nobody had ever called Donald Trump a racist.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump was hanging out with the rappers, Mike Tyson, Don King, everybody else. Everybody loved Donald Trump. All of a sudden, when he decided to run for president, all of a sudden, black women started hating him instantly. And I'm like, what did he do to y'all? And I asked that question today. What has Donald Trump did to black women? And they can't answer the question.
Okay.
He employed more black women than anybody in his administration. He had all kind of black people in his administration.
He did.
What was that girl from the TV show he was on with?
Omarosa.
Omarosa. I can never remember her name. Omarosa was there. What was our boy, the doctor, who was over Hood?
You talking about Carson?
Carson, Ben Carson. And he had a lot of people in some of them smaller roles. A lot of black women got promoted and put in position because of him. So I'm like, why y'all don't like him? All the Democrats did is try to copy what he did. With the all they did was copy what the Republicans did, because Bush did it first. He had Condoleezza.
Yeah.
He had Condoleezza, red beans, and rice, you know.
This is true.
So they wanted to try to one up because they were so stuck on trying to push and shove Hillary down everybody's throats. Nobody liked Hillary. Nobody liked her. Men didn't like her and women didn't like her. We liked her husband. We didn't like her.
Yeah, because we cool with you. Yeah, because the husband had plenty of money in my pocket. You weren't telling me nothing.
So we try to use her. She was supposed to be next up, and she always had political aspirations from the beginning. That's why she got with Bill. The Rodhams, they were very political up there in Connecticut and Rhode Island and up through there. You know, so it was like they were trying to do that 1980s, 1990s power couple shit. You know? But she didn't have that Southern charm that Bill had.
Right.
He had that Southern charm, and people just generally liked him. He had his own style of masculinity, you know?
Okay.
That people gravitated, that resonated with people. But Hillary was like, we don't like this bitch. You know what I mean? Like, we don't like her. But Obama threw a monkey wrench in the plan. They didn't see Obama coming. That was supposed to be Hillary's year.
Yeah.
Until they got up there to the caucuses and Obama smashed her. And that's why I've been saying, you know, historically, you got to win at least 2 of them 3 caucuses. Iowa, Ohio, Michigan, all the way up there. You got to win like 2 or 3 of them to get the nominee. Because by the time we get to South Carolina, it don't even matter. So not Obama, but Biden, that was the first time South Carolina ever picked a nominee, and that nominee didn't win one of the first 3 caucuses. And we wonder why we here right now. If it wasn't for COVID, Trump would have got reelected.
And look at what's done happened with that.
Hello.
So with that, hang on, let me get through some of these super chats. So we got the hey Dylan, how you doing? He said he's from South Newark. He said y'all pray for President Trump, his family, and the nation. We got the incredible one. Welcome. Said, what are we gonna get for our votes? See, that's the problem. We as Black people ain't come together and decided and come to a consensus on what we need. Until we do that, we can't go ask for nothing. You're gonna have 15 different people asking for 15 different things, and that's not gonna get us where we need to be. So yeah, we
With that person, they said where they was from?
South Newark.
South what?
Wait a minute, let me go back. I was looking at something else. Hold on. Yeah, South Norfolk. My bad. Okay. So you in Virginia? Hi.
I wouldn't do anything wrong to your channel.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I think we got off on the wrong start there. I was just making a little joke about Michael Jackson there. Okay.
Oh no, nobody. Oh no, nobody was offended.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well,
Yeah,
I thought I may have offended you because you came up with the Klan thing and all that.
No, because he was talking about Joe being old. I was like, I mean, but that's what he kind of put you in the mind of, you know what I'm saying? Like some old Klan leader, you know what I'm saying, who time has gone, but he don't want to go. So he just
you do know who started the KKK, right? It was the Democrats, and it was Andrew Jackson.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that at all.
As a matter of fact, Andrew Jackson also came after my people. I'm Muskogee Creek, by the way.
Okay.
From down in Florida. He came after my people, and he ran on his presidential platform as he would eradicate my people from the face of the earth.
Oh, Lord.
That was his campaign to become president. So yeah, I know about the histories and all that of the KKK and what they were about, things like that, because they were pretty much against my people for a long time.
They seem to be against everybody, people.
Yeah, and yeah. Well, I know where you're coming from. I do, because heck, I was sitting there and we were at ceremony one time. We have a ceremony called green corn ceremony, and we were at that, and we had a truckload of white robed individuals come up, and they started shooting at us and telling us to get our red asses back in the swamps.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So, and we had women and children and everything there. So, yeah, I've seen some pretty nasty stuff, you know, and Minzer's pretty nasty stuff. Yeah, with these people.
That's one thing I can say. I ain't never been shot at.
He thankful. It's not a and I mean, when I saw Trump get shot, I was like, holy cow, I couldn't believe that, you know. It just blew my mind. And the repercussions that could come from that could be a bad thing in many different ways, from the world platform all the way down to just our local level platform.
That's true.
Yeah. And that's what scared me.
Because people,
somebody said it best last night. They said Teflon Don, you know. And I thought about that. And Donald Trump is one of those individuals who is like able to turn a lot of bad things into a good thing for some kind of way for himself. Like even with the conviction, right? With the 34 counts, when he got convicted, his poll numbers went up. So they just,
I think poll numbers skyrocketed.
Skyrocketed, right? So it's like, I think the Democrats are so out of touch with reality. Is they like, yeah, we got him now. We're gonna be able to call him a felon. Man, Americans.
Well, let me tell you how out of touch of reality they are. Okay. There's a video going around by one of these guys. It's I forget his name, but he's pretty high up with the Democrats. And he said, he goes, if they won't allow felons in the military, how can we have a president as a felon? Well, I can tell you now, I know of 13 people that had felony records that had their times reduced to nothing if they went into the military. Okay. So yes, there are felons in the military. So that was the stupidest thing. That's the stupidest video I've ever seen or heard.
Well, when I was in the military, I'm ex-Navy, and a lot of guys got to avoid going to prison, young guys, because they chose to go serve. So you could either go to prison, with felony, or you could go to the military and try to build your life. A lot of guys was like that. So ain't that a felon?
Do you know they let out a lot of people out of prison and sent them to Vietnam when Vietnam was going on?
Really? Yep.
Yeah, it sure did.
Listen, man, I said this before when we was looking for a bin Laden. I said, you got the two toughest groups of people that you could have sent over there, and we never sent them. That would have been ex-cons and a group of white women. They would have found bin Laden in one fucking
Damn, y'all.
We'd have a Starbucks in Afghanistan.
That was the funniest shit I ever heard.
White women over there. Ain't nothing like a bunch of angry white women.
That's the funniest shit I ever heard, dude.
Damn.
I apologize for cousin. I apologize for cousin.
It's all right.
I'm gonna tell the truth over here.
That's just funny. That's just funny.
I'm gonna tell you the truth over here. Send a bunch of angry camels over there to Iraq and see what happened.
Well, you know, if anything, you send a bunch of angry white women over there. You got two groups you can choose from, though. You got the southern angry white women, which will just go over there and shoot them. Okay.
Those
then
are
you
the
got
ones I'm talking about. I ain't
okay.
talking
Well,
about
then you got the liberal, more laid back. They'll just squawk them to death.
Yeah, now I'm talking about the southern tough white girls from Alabama, some damn place, you know.
Right.
South Carolina, Alabama.
Have y'all seen that? Yeah, y'all seen that one video? It went viral where this guy he's got these multicolored teeth. He said, "What will you do if I break in your house and steal everything you own?" And it's a southern lady, and she was basically the nicest person you ever wanted to hear. Just say, "Well, I'll send you to hell."
Oh Lord.
I remember when I first came down south with my grandparents. My grandparents retired.
I had to laugh at that one. It was funny.
My grandparents retired in 1992, and I remember going to the church on Saturday with my grandmother's sister to cut the heat on for service Sunday morning. We get to the church, it's way out in the middle of nowhere, okay? And my aunt throws a 38 snub nose in my lap. It says, "If anybody come in behind me, shoot." I'm 16 years old, by the way. Now, my Aunt Betty is the nicest, sweetest woman you ever met. She just threw the pistol at me. "What you want me to do with this, Aunt Betty?" She looked at me and said, "Boy, don't play like you don't know how to use no gun." Well, I said, "Well, who you want me to shoot?" "Anybody who ain't me or you."
Okay.
Aunt Betty's the sweetest woman you ever see.
We're gonna stick with that. Okay.
Well, one of the funniest things I ever seen, as far as older women go, we were at another ceremony, and the police came up and said we had 3 escaped convicts get out, and they're pretty rough individuals, and we're making sure everybody's safe and things like that. And they said, and the next question they asked was, "Do you all own any weapons to protect yourself with?" Well, there's about 70 Native Americans there, right? Of course, the men all pull their weapons, but the funniest one was, now imagine this now, an 82-year-old woman, she's 4'6", probably weighs 80 pounds soaking wet, pulls out this dirty, hairy, freaking 6-shot freaking pistol and says, "I think I've got it covered, young man."
Oh Lord.
I'm like, yeah, she pulled out a 45 caliber 6-shot pistol that had that 10-inch freaking barrel on it.
Oh,
Out of her purse.
Damn. Really?
Yeah, that's what she carried around as her protection in her purse. I didn't know what you could do.
Say what?
You know what kind of gun he's describing right now? You ever seen Walking Dead with
yeah, yep, exactly.
With the sheriff carried the big gun.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what he describing. That's what the little lady had.
Oh Lord.
That's what the little old lady had. Exactly.
Big old python.
Yeah.
Damn, she was on some Tackleberry type of time.
Yeah. Rick used to carry that gun. That's what his name was, Rick.
Yeah, Rick. Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly the type of gun she had, but she pulled that right out of her purse, and that was her personal protection.
Good grief.
Well, you shoot somebody with that, they ain't getting up.
Well, even if, let's say, okay, you shoot them in the toe, half their leg's gonna come off, you know.
Yeah, they not getting up. I just had this conversation with Almondeyez. I was talking to her about her sister. Why I said, she should get a shotgun versus a little pistol. I said, girl, I want you to survive. I don't want you out here playing, shooting people, and they still coming at you. I want you to shoot them and they go down.
That's my home defense. It's a 12 gauge, and I got number 1 buck in it.
Yeah, you gotta have
pellets. Yep, I got 32 pellets, and because it's 3/4 inch magnums in that sucker, and I tell you what, it'll tear down anything I need.
No bird shot. I think by law you got to put 2 bird shot in the beginning.
Yeah, 2 warning shots.
No, not here in Tennessee. It don't matter.
Oh, for real?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know some
Here
states
in Tennessee, it don't matter.
1 or 2 bird shot before you.
Here in Tennessee, you can fill it. If you want to fill it up with slugs, you can fill it up with slugs. If you want to fill it up with buckshot, you can fill it up with buckshot. It don't matter.
See, I don't know too much about Tennessee.
Okay.
We in North Carolina. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I might have
North Carolina's starting to get really weird with some of their laws.
Ain't that the truth?
I mean, I'm not trying to be mean to North Carolina, but some of the laws that they're coming off with,
we get it.
It is what it is. We gonna call it straight down the middle here. We know they crazy here sometimes.
Yep.
Crazy as cat shit.
Yep. Yeah, see, Tennessee here, especially in the county I am. I'm in a what do they call that? A constitutional 2A county.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tennessee. One of my favorite content creators is up in Tennessee. That's Emily D. Baker. Shout out to Emily D. Baker. Coffee and Cursey words. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to Emily D. Baker. Tell her the People's Champ sent you.
I will.
Yeah, Emily Baker is fantastic. She's a lawyer. She covers a lot of law cases. She is phenomenal. Phenomenal. She made a lot of splash during the Johnny Depp trial.
Okay.
Yeah, she was killing it. She was killing it. But she predicted that Alec Baldwin case was going to get thrown out, and sure enough, it did.
He should have never been in there. That was crazy.
He should have never been in there.
Hell, I predicted that.
Alec Baldwin. We love Alec over here.
I predicted that. I said as soon as they said he was going to go to court for that, I said, that's going to be thrown out. There ain't going to be nothing happen with that.
Yeah.
There's actually people mad about that, which is crazy to me.
You got a lot of district attorneys that are just trying to make names for themselves. It's not even about the rule of law. It's can I make a name for myself?
Yep.
And it's sad. It's like we just going to throw rule of law out.
Well, that's about like me. I had a false case put on me because I got a cop fired because he threatened me. He came onto my boat. I was living on a boat at the time. He came onto my boat, threatened to whoop my ass. Those exact words, and on my boat. And I happened to have been on my on the phone with my lawyer at the time when he started doing that. Well, my lawyer's like, "What do you want me to do about that?" I said, "Well, do what you got to do." Well, it got him fired. So the Dixie County cops in Florida decided to put false charges on me.
Oh Lord!
And they took me to court saying I assaulted a store clerk. Well, then they even said they had video of it and everything else. 5 months later, they still never showed up with the video. It got thrown out of court because I asked the judge to throw it out of court, and she did. Well, the thing is, I am the only blemish on that district attorney's record. She tried for 5 months.
He be trying to mess with you. That sound like old boy from Misery. Yeah, no, not Misery, but Dolores Claiborne. Y'all remember that? Because he couldn't prove she killed her husband, so he just kept, looking for stuff to try to get her on. Then when the woman she was working for, she died under some unique circumstances. He tried to pack it off on her. Child, when they get you in their crosshairs, it'd be something different. They be on a whole
Well, let's put it this way. I wound up leaving that county because of the simple fact they were after my ass after I got that cop fired.
Yeah,
you mess with that thin blue, you start messing with that thin blue line gang, man. Ooh, they come after you.
Yeah, you have to get away from them.
Yeah, and I did.
Right, let me take this moment to get a PSA announcement in. Welcome back to Almondeyez 78. We appreciate everybody joining us. We are simulcasting live here on Almondeyez 78, also on the People's Podcast, where I am the host, the Ben Israel, the People's Champ, the Heisenberg of this ish, the Shogun of Charlotte, your favorite content creator. It's your main man. Make sure y'all subscribe, subscribe, smash the bell. We got Almondeyez over 1,000 last night, y'all. We was in here kicking it last night. We was kicking it. We had over 100,000 people between the two channels last night.
Wow.
How many people was in our chat?
At one point, I think you had 250. I think I had 550 at one point.
Oh, man, the chat was litty last night. Make sure y'all subscribe. Act like y'all know what's going on. We give y'all the real over here. We don't play them games either. We talk straight and we back it up. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and share. We love y'all, man. Make sure we building this stuff over here slowly. We've been around a long time, but we doing it organically because we want quality people in here with us. We not just chasing numbers. Our 1,000 is the equivalent of somebody's 20,000. Believe it. Where my Spartans at? Are they in the chat? Where my Spartans at? Where is your profession? Better let us know. Hit the chat. That's all I got to say, y'all. I'm going to come back at y'all, man. But we appreciate y'all big time. In case you didn't see my my post earlier, I did. I thanked everybody earlier because we was pushing in. And we rocked for about, 6-7 hours yesterday?
Yeah, about 6
and a half. We did 8 hours the night before. And hell, let Lil Woody come on this week. We're going to be rocking strong this week. We're looking for Lil Woody to come back.
Yeah, I need them to pull that together down there in Atlanta.
Yeah, we need some Little Woody action, and we need to get that
judge
judge
dragging this out.
We need to get Fanny recused. Fani, whatever her damn name is, Fani
for real.
He is president, as Professor Nez calls it. Shout out to Professor Nez. If y'all not subscribed to Professor Nez, make sure you do. That was the first that he had breaking news before anybody yesterday. I was watching it live with him, and it was instant. I was like, whoa, before any of the major news stations said anything. Oh, here's what I meant to tell y'all. CNN, right as Trump got shot, they went on their website, and they posted Trump fell during his speech, and Secret Service had to carry him off stage.
Say what?
Yep.
That's what they posted.
Sure did.
Minutes after he got shot. They never said he got shot. They made it seem like he just fell.
And then then every one of the lamestream media tried to say it was just popping noises. They did not want to say it was a shooting.
My thing is, what do you think gunshots from far away sound like?
Well, like I said, that's how I knew it was a 22. That's why I showed you that gun, because it sounds different. It's a different sound than a traditional or a larger rifle. And that's why I told you it was a HK SP5. It comes built in with the suppression. Obviously had a scope on it, but that's exactly what it sounds like to me. And
I agree. It was a 22
gun that they come up with. I guarantee it's going to be a variation of that gun. We showed it yesterday.
I'm in agreement. It was a 22, and they keep trying to say it was a 223. It didn't sound nothing like no 223.
That would take his head off. He'd have a chunk of his head missing. Nah, it had to be a small caliber. No way it was a 223. No way. Which would have been.
I've shot 220. I've shot 223s all my life. I've owned one since I was 10 years old. That sound nothing like a 223.
Yeah, it's a different sound. It's a different sound. Like I said, that gun, I'm very familiar with that rifle, and I know it comes, some versions of it come built in with a built-in suppressor. I know what it sounds like. I said, I know exactly what that shit is. Watch, it's going to come out. Y'all going to come, like I tell y'all all the time in advance things, and no, V, you don't know what you're talking about. And then they come out and verify what I'm saying, and then none of y'all ever come back and say, you know what, you was right. How many times I got to be right for y'all to say, damn, he might know what he's talking about sometimes.
Ain't no telling.
Because I don't talk
I'm gonna say I'm gonna be right now. I'm gonna be right now, right here, and say you're right.
But you already agreeing with me because you know rifles, so you hearing the same thing. I'm hearing like that's a 22. Anybody that knows rifles,
yep,
or guns, you know.
I grew up around pistols. I grew up around shotguns, and I grew up around rifles all my life. I started owning my first rifle was a 223. I owned it at 10 years old. I shot my first deer when I was 11 with it. So I've owned 22s. I've owned shotguns all my life. So
I know my grandfather and my grandmother used to raise hogs. And they always used to keep a 220, a 22 rifle, and that's how they would kill the hog. With they'll bust him right in his head, when he got big enough,
Yep. Been there, done that one too.
I know what it sounds like. I grew up in my, like you hear it so much, it don't even make you budge. Oh, they killing a hog, it's one of them kind of things,
Yeah.
But like I said, everybody's an expert. Nobody can admit I don't know something. Or maybe that other person.
I don't understand that.
You said earlier, when's the last time you seen grown men fighting? The last time I seen that was just about 4 days ago down the street. And it was two brothers. They were fighting each other.
Yeah, we don't count the brothers. We talk about non-related people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Non-related.
That fight all the time, and cousins. We don't count that. We talk about two strangers.
Okay, two strangers. The last time that would have been up there in Rochester, New York, and that was, and they were right out in the street, and they got in a fight, and I mean they whooped each other all over that street. That was probably about 4 years ago.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that is not an everyday occurrence.
We don't count nobody from Rochester nowhere. They crazy as cat shit up there in Buffalo and Rochester anyway.
Oh, you ain't kidding, dude. Rochester They got a place called Ghost Town that they go and have wars at, literally, in Rochester.
But yeah, we talking about two
Yeah.
strange men. It's very rare you see that they in a fist fight out in the middle of the street. You don't see that. That's a rare thing.
Right.
You know? That's a rare thing. Even for women. When the last time you seen two women fighting? Two strangers. They not related or connected to each other.
I can't say non-related.
We usually fight people who are related or connected to us. That's usually, and usually it's at a family function, a cookout, Thanksgiving, some kind of social event. That's when emotions is
we gonna
high,
ruin the holiday.
all that kind of stuff. But just a regular Monday through Friday, you just out here fist fighting and you 40 years old?
Nope.
No, you ain't.
You're right.
No, you. Especially
you're right.
In these world. These young men are scared to fight. They want to pull a pistol out. They rather shoot you.
Yep. But see, at least up in Rochester, they've gotten to the point they don't go by and do drive-bys and stuff like that up there.
Yeah, you ain't gonna
put little kids in danger and stuff like that. They literally got a place that they call Ghost Town up there, and that's where they go and they shoot it up, and you can hear it every night if you're close to it. Every night there's someone out there shooting each other up.
Really?
Yes, really.
Damn. Okay, people.
Well, we got a town here in North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte, that gets rough like that in areas, called Gastonia, North Carolina.
Ooh, child, let's not get into Gastonia. You mean the Wild Wild West?
At one point, Gastonia's murder rate was higher than Chicago's.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little town. It's a little town.
Yeah, we going hard in Gastonia.
But you want to know where the number one place in the United States is for unsolved murders? It's a little backwoods hick hillbilly county called Searcy County, Arkansas.
I can see that.
About right.
I can see that. That sounds right. It's always a small town in the middle of nowhere.
Yep. They got the most unsolved murders in all of the United States in Searcy County, Arkansas.
Mm.
Yeah, I could believe that. See, we got a lot of city folks. They don't know the country. They ain't never been to the country. They don't understand the country. You know, they don't understand, man. There's some places in the country you might drive miles before you see another person. You could easily just pop somebody and dump them off, and they never be found again.
Well, look what happened when they drained that swamp to go look for that one hiker down there in Florida.
True.
They had found 42 different bodies in that swamp.
Yep. Folks that they have been looking for them people forever.
You're right. So I mean, and it took them draining the swamp to find, because that hiker's family was some big shot, you know, and they drained that swamp to try to find her body in there, and guess what? They found 42 other bodies. That's insane.
Yeah.
And that's down in Florida. You don't think Florida's got stuff like that. You know.
How the chat room looking?
It's good. We got a couple new people in. We got Keith, welcome, Keith Jenkins. We got I See You Dog, welcome. And we got one of our returning founders, Med J Commander is in the house. How you doing, sir? Appreciate you for stopping by. Appreciate you for stopping by. Let's see what else we got going on. Any updates? I'm just trying to see real quick.
Oh, and by the way, you were talking about what Trump employed. Trump employed Native Americans, blacks, Hispanics, Orientals, the people that actually would fit the job and actually had the knowledge to do the job right. He put them there. He didn't give a crap about the color.
Just do some work. But this is what I be trying to figure out. Like, why everybody want to act like nepotism don't be going on? It has never gone anywhere. It has always gone on.
That was used to be a good look. That you got the job because your family had a good reputation.
Correct.
Your mama, they knew your mama, they knew your daddy, I used to work with your granddaddy back in the, a lot of us got jobs like that.
Heck, I got a couple of jobs like that, man.
Yeah,
oh, you so and so son, huh? Well, you so and so boy, a grandchild, plenty of times.
Right.
And then you better not let your family down either, because then your family be kicking you in the butt.
Exactly.
Hell, I done got out of traffic tickets. I told y'all about my Aunt Betty. Aunt Betty was the magistrate judge. So I done got out of plenty of tickets. Oh, you Betty Harris' nephew, huh? Yeah, that's my aunt. Oh, okay. Go ahead, man. Go on home.
Mm-hmm.
Go on home, man.
Well, because of my uncle, I got out of the one and only time, because it scared me to death, because I knew what would happen. I knew what was going to happen when I got home. Mm-hmm. And I did. I got my butt tore up, even though I was 19 years old when I did it. I still got my butt tore up by my uncle, but because of my uncle's name, I got out of a DWI.
Okay.
Is Red Illusion still in the chat?
I haven't seen him in a while. You still here, Red?
Tell him to go ahead and come on up. I haven't been able to get him unblocked because I can't figure it out yet, but I give him a wrench on the meta profile. So I did do half of what I said. Okay. He got a wrench, so.
I was literally driving in the ditch because I didn't want to get on the road and take the chance of hurting someone. I literally ran over like 15, 20 mailboxes.
Oh, okay? Lord.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm tearing up people's ditches and things like that. And the cop pulls me over. He says, "Boy, what are you doing?" I said, I'm not on the road. I said, I know I shouldn't be driving on the road. He said, just because your uncle and who he is, get in the car, I'll take you home. I said, no, take me to the jail. He said, no, I'm taking you home. Yeah, I said, don't take me to the jail, because I knew what was coming.
Yeah, you knew what that ass was.
Right. And he took me to my house, and my uncle commenced to whooping my butt all over that yard. Oh my God.
Ouch.
He did. He whooped me bad. So but I got out of it because of who my uncle was and how good of a name he had in the community.
Right.
I embarrassed him in the community, and that's what got my
butt. You had to get it right.
Now, what did they talk about in the chat? What's the conversation in there tonight?
Ain't really no conversation in the chat. They just saying piggybacking off what we talk about.
Oh, because they was livid last night.
Yeah.
They was livid. But yeah, we appreciate y'all in the chat, man. That's we like an active chat over here on both channels. So definitely feel free to speak your mind. Just know what you're talking about. That's all we ask for.
Yeah, that's all.
Because even last night, man, somebody in the chat tried to check somebody. It wasn't even us doing it.
Somebody sitting there watching, like, right?
Steve had the, hey, I know what you're talking about when you come over here.
I tell you now,
do the subliminal.
I only had to listen to you for about 5 minutes, and I subbed to you because you seem to be pretty down to earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we appreciate you listening.
Real people, man. Really, you know, whatever. We real people. We try to call it as we see it. And even myself and Almondeyez, we don't agree all the time. Sometimes we disagree, but we try to express our thoughts. So give honest feedback on the way we perceive it, you know, and sometimes we wrong, you know, sometimes we both wrong, and sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes she wrong, but we try to make a space where people can speak openly, you know.
And sometimes you just have to agree to disagree.
No, we don't play that game either. That's people who can't admit they wrong. I don't believe in that agree to disagree shit. You either wrong or you're right. So just admit you're wrong.
Okay, I'll give you that.
It's usually the person who say, "Oh, we're going to agree to disagree," they wrong, and they just can't admit they wrong.
No, you got a point. You got
Think
a point.
about it. Think
You
about
got
it.
a point.
And we should be man enough, and we had that happen Friday night. The young man and the young girl was going back and forth, and we let him go for a little bit, but the man came back, which was Derek. Derek came back and said, "You know what? I'm wrong. I apologize. I was the wrong one." See, yeah, now we can have some growth. We can have growth in our conversation because he found out, you know what, I was wrong. And it's okay. It's okay. We all wrong sometime. That's how you learn.
Hell, I don't know how many times I've ate crow on this dang YouTube, but you know, because
that's what it's
I
supposed
was wrong on something.
We're supposed to do that. But if everybody just think they right all the time, ain't no growth.
I'm in agreement.
I mean, and what killed me is a lot of these people that I call dumb, they've been dumb all their life. Like, you know, you're dumb. Like, why all of a sudden we like this is a news flash to you that I called you dumb? You ain't never been called smart in your life, sir. Like, let's stop lying about it. You've been dumb all your life. But you get people, like I said, they get on the internet. Now they want to reinvent themselves, and everybody is a scholar, and everybody was a straight A student, and everybody was a star athlete. I'm like, when did this happen?
I was never no star athlete. I was never no straight A student. But by God, I do
even
research.
when they talk about their kids, everybody claim that their kid is a straight A kid. I got 4 children, and only my youngest daughter is the smartest. She literally gets straight A. She is extremely smart, unusually smart. But my other 3 ain't dumb. They just ain't
that smart. They just ain't smart as she is.
She is.
It ain't no shame. It ain't no shame in that. I don't know why folks act like it is.
Oh, my baby smart. My baby gets straight A's. And I remember going to the award ceremonies with Brooklyn. It was Brooklyn and a little Chinese girl getting all the awards every semester. So I'm looking at these parents like, I thought your child was a straight A student. Where the award at? Your child ain't even got perfect attendance.
That's about like my nephew. My nephew, we always said he was adopted because he's smarter than everybody in the whole entire family.
What?
Yeah, my nephew. We always said he was adopted.
Listen, she don't speak and make comments, but she do be listening to us. By the way, shout out to Brooklyn. Miss Brooklyn is going to be 15 in September. She's starting high school.
My nephew was teaching me.
Show up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My nephew was teaching me and my uncle how to use the computer. That's how smart he was. I mean, and then by the time he hit, I think it was 15, he was in FSU learning computer graphics and things like that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's why we said there's no way he could have been anything but adopted into our family.
Lord.
Damn. But yeah, we lie so much, and we got to stop doing that. You know, it used to be a time where telling the truth was the thing, and people were just regular people. But now everybody wants to be this superhuman exceptionalism that don't exist, and it's never been verified. It's never been measured anywhere. Everybody thinks because they got smartphones, they're smart now. You know,
that right there be doing
it's amazing to me.
And it's like this damn new Android. This damn new Android I got, right?
You peel one layer back, ask them a simple question, and their whole shit fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
And they start beatboxing and stuttering and shit. And again, I ain't gonna name no names, but I'll tell y'all about the content creator who had never heard of the Louisiana Purchase. I said, man,
what
the fuck are you talking? Like, please stop talking. You're making yourself look so dumb. Well, they don't teach Louisiana Purchase down here in Alabama. I said, well, how did they explain the rest of the country to you?
She said the whole. Let me see if I can find it real quick. She said the whole thing was staged, and she went through her whole diatribe about, you know what I'm saying, what went on, this and that, and the fourth. Hold on, I think it was on Instagram.
Yeah, people died, and it was.
This
staged.
is what I'm talking about. Nobody volunteered.
There was 2 people that were I can't even speak right now. Critically injured.
Yeah, and critically injured.
One died.
That was part of the plan. Really?
You know she ain't.
We gotta stop with that. Everything is a skit. Shit.
I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick of that because it is not.
We've gotten to the point when some real shit happens, we can't even determine whether the shit was real or not.
Well, I've heard that I've even heard people go as far as to say as that was a blood pack over his ear. Okay. I mean, literally, that's just
okay. So let's go down that rabbit hole. If that was the case, how did the other people get injured?
Again, that's what I'm saying too.
And usually,
that was a blood pack
on the chest. You don't do it over an ear,
right?
From that distance with a 22. Come on, stop. Yeah. This guy wasn't no expert marksman.
Nope.
Stop it.
No. If he was, he wouldn't have been shooting all over the place with that gun when he was doing that. You know what I'm saying?
He wouldn't have chose that weapon.
Well, you got a point there.
I mean, really, he wouldn't have chose that weapon if he was an expert.
Right. If you notice, most
like I was telling Almondeyez, you got to account for the wind resistance. And with a 22, that's almost impossible to do from over 100 yards.
Yeah. Most of them that have happened, and I'm talking about assassination attempts or actual assassinations, have always been done with a 308 until now.
Right. A 308, 373, something like that. Because you got to have enough weight on the bullet to cut through the wind.
Correct. And then depending on your distance, you still need to
depending on the distance, right? So when you start talking about 300 yards, that's 3 football fields, people.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good distance. That's a big distance.
At 200 yards, even with the 308, you got to account for wind and you got to account for heat and things like that.
I mean, usually when you're talking about 300-400 yards, you're going with something bigger because
I got it.
I mean, you know, these people watch too much TV. They don't know nothing, man. They just talk to be talking.
Or they play GTA or they play them first-person shooter games and all of that. Yeah.
I think everything is a video game, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, going back to George Zimmerman, I remember having this conversation with George Zimmerman, and they were trying to wonder why. How did his nose get busted if Trayvon never hit him? I said, because he had that cheap-ass little pistol and the recoil on it. He was so close, when he fired it, the gun bucked and busted him right upside his own nose. Y'all not understanding this because y'all never shot a pistol before.
Correct.
Like, let's common sense, people.
You know what they say, common sense ain't common.
Common sense ain't common no more. I remember having that discussion. That was before YouTube, of course. But I got interviewed by the Associated Press back then. You know, we were doing more like forums and threads and stuff. And when we had, that was what the internet was more like back then. I wish we would have had some videos like we do today. But I mean, it was just ridiculous things they were saying. I mean, like, have y'all ever had a pistol in your hand? Any kind of pistol? There's always recoil.
Yeah.
And this is why you're told when you fire a pistol, you do it with two hands and you have your arm extended to minimize the recoil.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, the gun is going to hit you in your face.
I remember the first time I shot a dang 40 caliber pistol, I hit myself right in the face with it.
You damn near rip your arm off.
I was freaking, I was I think I was 13 years old. My grandpa said, now you've been watching me shoot this thing. You know what to do, right? I said, oh yeah. And the first thing I did, I had that right close up to my body, one hand, and that thing went boom, and I went boom right into my face with it. I glanced my eye.
There are plenty of videos on the internet where you have people demonstrating this. Yeah. But people don't take time to learn anything. They just want to get on platforms today and just talk ish. At least take a couple of minutes to go research some things. I done told y'all what kind of rifle I think it is, and I guarantee none of y'all have bothered to look up a video on that rifle. It's plenty of videos.
We went through that last night.
It's a H&K SP5 suppressed. That's what the SP for. That's suppression. Mm-hmm. They make a variety of these guns. They not all by Hetchler and Koch. A couple of manufacturers make this gun. But if you type that in on YouTube, it'll give you 1 million videos, and you'll hear what I was saying about the way it sounds. I bet you very few people have done that, and we had over 100,000 people in here. Mm-hmm. I may find one of those videos tomorrow and put that.
Yeah, that's a good
Maybe
idea.
I'll do that. Maybe I'll download a video and talk about that gun, that weapon specifically. Y'all, I don't know if y'all ever, again, a lot of these people don't know me, so they don't. I'm a prepper. I believe in all of that prepper shit. Yeah, I'm a hood dude from the city, but I'm a country boy at heart. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I'm into all of that prepper shit, knobs and survival and guns. I'm into all of it and have been for quite a while. Okay.
Well, like I said, I grew up poor. I grew up poor as hell. We went out and poached our food. We went, I mean, in the middle of summer, if we needed some meat on the table, me or my dad, once I got old enough to do it, but my dad, before I was old enough to do it, go out, shoot a deer, go shoot a turkey out of season. Okay. Right. We go, I always kept fish in the freezer that's what I could do when I was a kid. I always kept fish in the freezer, you know, things like that.
Well, I got a story for you that'll tickle you to death. So you just said your dad used to hunt turkeys, wild turkeys, I'm assuming?
Yeah, wild turkeys. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I had never seen a wild turkey before this point. So I was driving on the back roads in South Carolina, and I saw a big black bird run across the road and scared the shit out of me. I slammed on my brakes, and the bird he kept going. He never looked back. I thought it was a fucking ostrich, okay? I get home to my grandfather. I'm excited. I'm the adrenaline still pumping. I said, Pop, I saw an ostrich. He laughed at me. He said, you so damn stupid. It wasn't no ostrich. That was a turkey. I said, get the fuck out of here. That wasn't no turkey. He said, no, that's what it
landed in my damn lap.
I was going about that fast. Yeah, I'm telling you. If I would have hit him, it would have been some damage. And you know what a Buick, y'all know what the big box cars look like, the big box Chevys, the Buicks, the Lincolns. They were all big box cars, all metal. It was an 84, heavy car. Shoot out, man, that thing would have tore my damn thing up.
Yep.
Shit.
Okay, y'all. I found the video. Hold on, I'm gonna run this audio. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this.
All right, run it.
Here we go. This after she had to eat crow. Right, so that's we've seen that guy. He was talking about one of the damn y'all I can't think how when he was telling local police about the guy being on the roof. But yeah, she was going on and on and on and on and on talking about, hold on. I want to see this. Hold on. Hold on. Y'all want to see her act a straight monkey. Hold on. You know what? Let me see if I can find the TikTok of these all together because these pieces aggravate. We think you dumb. That's what we think. We think you dumb. Hold on. I want them all together. I want them all together. My folks be want to talk to me on Instagram. Ugh. Hold on. Yeah, guys, it's almost 1 o'clock. Like I gotta go to work. I'm trying to be on time this week. Cause so far that didn't happen last week at all.
You must be over in the East Coast area. Oh yeah, you said North Carolina. North Carolina, you said.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate my job because it's pointless. I get tired of being the smartest person in the room. So I don't be excited about showing up over there.
I understand that. I do.
All right, here we go.
Common sense here. So I'm going to play a little bit of her video.
Okay.
And then I'm going to
all right, sir. We appreciate that. Let's go.
Was more staged than a Tyler Perry production
of she done took it down
for president. This was, I believe, done to try to show his strength counter to Biden's fragility.
So let's deal with that for a second. So Trump really hasn't had to do anything the past 2 weeks since the debate with Biden's performance and all the gaffes he's made. Trump really hasn't had to do anything. All Trump really has to do is be quiet. And everybody's looking at Joe Biden like, dude, when are you going to step down? Even his own party. The idea that Trump is going to stage a shooting is kind of stupid. I'm all for a good conspiracy theory. I'm all for it. But let's take a look at the facts. One person that was killed, shot in the head, and another woman, his wife next to him, I believe, was wounded. Multiple witnesses, particularly somebody who was sitting right next to them, saw the gentleman who was shot in the head, who was instantly killed. And there were also 2 other people that I think are in critical condition right now. Also, we had the video that shows the killer who was killed by Secret Service. So we got to have some common sense. Certain conspiracy theories make sense, but Trump is already ahead, quite honestly. And I will say right now,
what's really the
Trump
point?
the Tupac effect, but nothing short of I don't know, God coming down himself and running against him is gonna stop this right now.
I
So
said the
her
same
saying that this,
thing.
shooting was staged was crazy, but
I gotta agree with that statement.
Yeah, I was like, unless Jesus coming to run, it's pretty much done.
That's my feedback.
Okay.
Yeah, see, Biden was already I hate to tell you, before they even started campaigning, Biden was done. He ruined this economy. He's ruined everything there is to say. And then he's in such a denial that he thinks he's got the best economy out there that's ever been in the United States. Wrong. People that were Biden supporters when he first became president were outspokenly saying they would never vote for him for this presidency. Okay. So he was done then. And then he really put his last nail in the coffin on that debate. And then added about 4 more after that, just to make sure it was sealed when he started talking at these press conferences. Okay. Why would Trump want to even think about something like that could endanger people or endanger himself, whatever, or even make it look like it would endanger himself or people when he already had it in the bag?
Exactly. Hold on.
There's a saying, never interrupt your opponent while he's making a mistake.
Thank you.
And that's kind of what Trump has been doing. He's just been sitting back, letting Biden dig himself further and further into a ditch. And Biden only opens his mouth to switch feet.
Wow.
That's the only thing. Every time he opens his mouth, it get worse.
Yep.
Wow. All right, y'all. I think we got another one where we get more of what she had to say.
That shit was more staged than a Tyler Perry production of Medea Runs for President. That shit was more staged than a Tyler Perry production of.
Yeah, this who we supposed to be listening to for content. Yeah, she has taken it down, so it's gonna take me a minute to find the full video. But I will continue to look for it for y'all.
And who was that?
Amanda Seals. You remember the last time we heard from her, you know what I'm saying, was all that controversy when she was on Club Shay Shay? When she was acting up and I don't be hugging people and all of this and all of that. She went on and on and on and on and on.
Some of these people that they let talk nowadays, I don't understand why they're talking. Like, who are they?
And she's supposed to be so pro-black and all about the black people, but girl, you can't get nothing done. You got kicked out the black Oscar party.
First of all, what she said was stupid. 6 years damn near right before I was
8
born.
years.
Migrant workers. These people didn't have homes. Their whole families was out picking in the fields and shit. White people and black people side by side.
Correct.
Whole families. I remember the little white lady on the video, if y'all ever find it, she's talking and they ask her, how often can you buy milk for your kids? And she was like, maybe once a week if we're lucky. They had a bunch of kids. They had like 9 kids. And she's like, we try to make sure all the milk goes to the baby. But if I buy a gallon, that's only going to be enough so each of the other kids can get 1 glass of milk per week.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, this is 1968.
Yep.
We don't know our history. And we let people lie to us and divide us and tell us these fictitious things. The Mexicans didn't get over here to the East Coast until recent history. Historically, it was black and white.
Yep.
We got to stop lying. Kids couldn't even go to school because some of them had to watch the younger kids, and they did all kind of stories.
They couldn't go to school because they were working in the fields.
Exactly.
In the fields. And they was
I remember when I was going to school.
Sometimes
when I was going to school in the 80s, okay, in the 80s, they shut down school. They shut down school for the harvest, and they shut down the school for the planting. Because no kids were showing up because they were working in the field.
Or they was watching the younger kids.
Yep.
Or they were watching the younger kids, yes.
I wish, man. Now they just force us all into the public school system, and we come out stupider.
Well, now this is why NAFTA was created, because they tried to replace the labor with cheaper labor. That's always been the game plan for America: cheap to free labor. So instead of paying us a living wage, they tried to find cheaper labor. It backfired on them because those people got a taste of the good life and they wanted to get paid more. So that's why in all of these sanctuary cities, I mean, I remember they were interviewing the Mexican guy in Chicago. It was in December, and he got on a bus to go back to Mexico. He said, I could be homeless where it's warm. Why am I going to be homeless in freezing food? And that made all the sense in the world to me. But they promised all of those people $3,000 a month. They had them up in hotels. They were giving them all kind of benefits. We won't even give our own citizens that. Now, Andrew Yang tried to point this out in 2015 because he was talking about we're going to have to go with a universal basic income. We're going to have
because of automation.
Because of everything. So we might as well go ahead and do it now. But instead of them doing it to American citizens, they do it under the table and underhandedly in the sanctuary cities to illegal immigrants.
That's crazy you brought that up because I remember disagreeing hard with all that UBI back then. But now that I think about it, he was trying to soften the blow.
He was trying to minimize it. Andrew Yang was ahead of the gang. The gang shout out to go in a white restaurant, not thinking I can't even afford to go in there.
There's a great advertisement, a great commercial from the 1950s. It was called How to Sell to the American Negro. And it was all about how
series on YouTube. You can see it. It's
it's not
series on that shit.
And it's telling all the racist white people basically, hey, there's no reason not to do business with black people.
They're more likely to buy name brand stuff. And yeah, I know exactly.
Yep. And
the influence
they saw it coming.
It was already happening. So they were studying and doing documentaries on it. So that's why I always go off on people with this modern women talk. This shit been happening.
Yep.
Y'all just don't know who your mamas and grandmamas was. Grandma ain't had no drawers on. I'm sorry.
It's so crazy. It was just 2 generations ago. And like we don't know it existed.
Now you're listening to me.
Yeah.
Now you're listening. You can't have 13 kids and your drawers was on. Trust me, they was off more than it was on.
Yeah.
So they get offended when I said your mama ain't had no drawers on, your grandma ain't had no drawers. You ain't gonna talk about my mama, V. I'm gonna pull up on you. Come on, how many times have you heard them cuss me out, Red?
Bro, they were machines back then.
Yep, they were. And don't think it was just the blacks either, because Native Americans were the same way. There's some families out there that have 15, 16 kids. Imagine that.
You needed the labor. That's how families survived.
Right.
Yeah, and after the third or fourth child,
how did the natives live? You know, it's
and I see this in the local Chaldean families here. Like they say, after you have like the third, fourth child, then they start babysitting and raising each other, and it becomes a self-sufficient system.
Yep.
Yeah. Say nothing new.
That's how it is in the Native American community to now.
2 generations.
That's the way it is in the Native American community now. I'll tell you that now. Today.
And the Amish
have no clue about Native Americans. They have no clue what the reservations is like. They don't understand any of it.
From the time I was 9 years old to the time I was 45 years old, I lived on a reservation.
And you know you got to have labor. If you got a ranch or you doing horses or buffalo or a cow, any kind of cattle or whatever.
Yeah, because that's wealth. That's wealth. It's not the number in your Cash App account. It's the work you are producing. That is what wealth is.
Exactly.
Correct.
Gotta have the labor, and that labor was through our children. That was always the legacy, but we got away from that.
You are correct.
But people again, they don't know how to shut up and go, I don't know what I'm talking about right now. Maybe I should listen and learn. No, they want to talk and overtalk you and try to gotcha moments.
Oh no, black people was the original Native Americans. We were here first.
Oh, I've heard that too.
Then when we get into that conversation, they really don't want to have it with me. Because then I show them how little they know about their history. So I just try to keep the history based on American history as we understand it, so they get some understanding. But they want to go back to Egypt and shit, and they don't even understand basic history. I've been studying this shit all my fucking life in a collegiate setting, So when I got people who barely graduated high school trying to school me, it pisses me off.
Well, I like it when people try to start talking about my culture, and I was born and raised in it. They still call me a liar. That's what I really like.
Exactly, I hate that too.
Yeah. Or when white women get mad at like the Redskins logo. Meanwhile, Native Americans are like, no, it's pretty badass.
Did you know the Native Americans all around the United States had a petition out?
Over here talk about the white women. You ain't gonna have them fucking mad at us standing outside of our fucking house picketing us. Okay, we don't fuck with white women. Okay, we don't mess with them. Don't
the Native Americans had a petition out to not change that name.
Yeah, wear that shit. Y'all been saying it this whole time. Wear it.
It's cool, man. It's like it's a Native American chieftain warrior. It's cool. It's like a Viking.
Right. It's like that. Do you know what happened? You know what happened down there in Florida? They wanted to change the name of the Seminoles in Tallahassee. And see, the Seminoles give see, the Seminoles have the Hard Rock Cafe down there, and they give a lot of money to.
Yeah, just outside of Trenton. Yep.
You're right, and they give a lot of money from that Hard Rock Cafe to the Seminoles School, which is FSU, Florida State University. They give a lot of money to them. And when they went to go change that name, they said, we will pull every bit of money that we are giving you away from you if you change your name. Because we are not offended by it, and we don't want white people telling us what we're offended by.
Exactly. Red, I said
Trump has arrived.
Red, I said earlier, we would have caught bin Laden 2 years earlier if we had sent a group of white women over there to Afghanistan.
That shit cracked.
Bro, I was just saying this. Listen, I think the real reason that the British people became the best sailors in the world, I think white people they sailed the seas and conquered the whole world just to get away from those bitches.
Well, unfortunately, I will have to disagree with you because of the simple fact, but I still think it's for the same reason, but just on a different capacity. There's proof positive. If you go look at the Cahokia Mounds and look at their display, the Egyptians came to up there by Cahokia Mounds, Illinois.
Yep, there's Egyptian artifacts.
Yeah, there are actually 4 Egyptian scarabs.
There's no historical record to show the Egyptians ever left. The only people that ever left Egypt were the Israelites. So those artifacts weren't Egyptian artifacts; they were Israelite artifacts. That's how it got over. With the Egyptians.
And it gets so frustrating when people try to say, "Oh well, look at these statues in South America. They have big lips, so they must have been black people. We were here first."
It was.
Like, first of all,
Israelites.
Well, I mean, first of all, you're talking about the Inca tribe, which was 1,200 years ago, a specific group of people who were traced back to the Pacific Islanders. But we have evidence in North America of people being here going back 26,000 years ago. We talk about the Clovis sites on the West Coast. They found European tools on the East Coast of Stone Age tools on the East Coast of America 24,000 years ago.
Yes, and
they just found a 10,000-year-old Viking burial site in Florida.
What is the earliest form of writing? Hebrew.
Hebrew, yeah.
Got wiped out. They got killed. God punished them for what they did to the Hebrew people. He wiped them out. So they got replaced and taken over by the Babylonians and the Assyrians. That's who's over there now. And the remnants of the Turks. But them people we call Egyptians today ain't Egyptians. The original Egyptians have been destroyed. And that's documented in all kinds of books and stuff. But we don't know.
And that's why it's so embarrassing, the whole we was kings and all that. And they
history. And it doesn't coincide with what the rest of the world documented. So a good book that I always tell people, if you want to get that history, is From Babylon to Timbuktu. It tells that history. And it explains.
Yeah, I read it.
Huh? What you say?
I read it.
Oh, you actually
read that.
Told you about it?
Yeah, I read. After you told me about it, I downloaded the PDF.
Yeah, that's a great book, and it gives you the historical, and it gives you reference to other books that go into more detail during certain timelines, so you can understand how did the pyramids get built. They were built not by Egyptians; they were built by the doggone Hebrew-speaking people.
That's what got me into the whole. It also took me down the Ethiopian rabbit hole. And the Kebra Nagast, the Book of Kings, the original Ethiopian Bible, like all this stuff is like really tampered with nowadays. And the whole history of the place we now call Africa, which we already established was never called Africa.
Yeah.
The history of that place is so expansive, and it's considered just a monolith. Like, oh, it's just a bunch of black people. This place was a tribal war zone of
Didn't I tell you that?
epic
Remember I showed you the
proportions.
map? Didn't I show you the map that day when we saw it? It was me, you, and Snowman talking about this. And I told you to pull up the map, and you could see on the map the ancient maps. We still have access to those. They're right on Google to this day. But when you look at those maps and you think about this history that they've been trying to sell us on, okay, where are the maps to justify what they're saying? There are none, because that's bullshit what they've been saying to us. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard this. The former classmate.
I'm not so versed into it, but what little bit I am versed into what you're talking about there, just a little bit I'm versed into, I have found that there's so much bullshit, it's not even funny. I haven't taken time to delve into that much, into that particular part of history. Real hot and heavy.
Yeah, and you want to talk about generational trauma, dude? Most of the
what we're gonna do is we're gonna end this broadcast because we off on another topic, and we're gonna take this over to my channel so Almondeyez can get some rest, and we'll finish this discussion that we're on right now on my channel.
Well, but I appreciate you having me up here, both of you. Let me come up and speak with y'all. Y'all are great people. But I'm gonna have.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
We hear you.
I'm gonna have to hit the sack. It's one. I just realized it's 1 o'clock. I got to be up at 8. So.
I understand.
So you all have a great night. I appreciate you, and I hope I get another chance to come up on one of your panels.
We'll be on tonight, so definitely come back. Make sure you got your notifications
conversation for another night. And unless Red, you want to keep going?
Yeah, I'm down.
Oh, okay.
Y'all
Just take this over to my channel then.
You all have a great night, guys.
You too. Thank you.
5 minutes, and I'll get it going. And I'll drop the link immediately so you can come up.
Sounds good.
All right, y'all. Well, we are
we appreciate y'all coming up here to Almondeyez 78 and rocking with us on Trump Watch. We appreciate all the support we've gotten this weekend. We mean that very sincerely. We got Almondeyez monetized. She just crossed 1,000. So congrats to her. Big up to her. And we're just going to keep rocking strong, man, for the rest of this year. Rest of this month, the rest of this year. We're going to keep rocking strong.
Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you have your notifications on. And we will see you guys this evening. Until then, have a great Monday and be safe.